As I'm sure Mark Schwarzer is as well, because we're now going off for football at Chelsea versus Brighton. Chris Coles and Mark Schwarzer, for whom I remember, and I'm sure it's clear in his memory as well, I commentated on 13 times. How do I know that? Because he played 13 times for Bradford City back in the mid-1990s. And I tell you what, I seem to remember, Chris, he was brilliant in each and every one of those matches that I watched him. To you both on Premier League football, Chelsea versus Brighton, it's all yours.
Kevin, appreciate that. Yes, I'm sure you remember your Bradford City days fondly, Mark.
I do, absolutely. It was my first opportunity in English football, and I loved every moment of my time at Bradford City.
And you, like all of us, looking forward to the Ashes as well, which will be here before you know it. For now, on Sports Extra 2, we are concentrating on the Premier League and Chelsea's game at home to Brighton. Chelsea back at home for the first time in a long time, a string of away matches in various competitions, but they are back at the Bridge under blue skies and sunshine, pleasantly mild for late September. No need for the thermals today. And the two teams wander out of the tunnel way down below. We have a wonderful vantage point on the Stamford Bridge gantry, and we can see Brighton in yellow and Chelsea in blue emerge into the sunshine. Chelsea 6th, Brighton 14th. Chelsea protecting this excellent home record, unbeaten in their last 12 Premier League games at Stamford Bridge. They've won 9 of them. Brighton looking to do something they don't do very often, and that is win here. Mark, what sort of game are we anticipating? The game last season saw 4 goals in the first half, all scored by one man, but he isn't here.
He isn't. No, obviously it's a big hole to fill, isn't it, for Chelsea without Cole Palmer. That creative spark, that individual brilliance, unpredictability, that always makes it so difficult for any team to sort of try and pacify him, try and nullify his threat. It's almost impossible. But so for Brighton, they'd be delighted, certainly deep down, that he's not involved today. I'm expecting an open game. Both sides like to be on the front foot. Both sides like to play football, want to play at each other's halves. They want to put pressure on the ball high up the park as well. And we look at Brighton particularly, their defensive record has been really poor this season so far. And also, lastly, they're always conceding goals. So that is going to be a big challenge. And I think for Chelsea, an opportunity really to continue the good run at home against them.
Yeah, just 1 clean sheet in Brighton's last 17 Premier League matches, that against Wolves in May. The smoke from the pyrotechnics billowing across the Stamford Bridge pitch, so the visibility not quite as strong as it could be, but that'll soon disappear, and the team's being introduced to what looks a very healthy crowd in West London. Chelsea, 2 changes from defeats at Manchester United. The aforementioned Palmer and Wesley Fofana are out. Andre Santos and Yoral Hato come in to a Chelsea team that has Robert Sanchez in goal. Served his 1-match suspension in the League Cup midweek. Chelsea's victory at Lincoln. A back 4 of Reece James, Trevor Chalobah, Yoral Hato and Marc Cucurella. Andre Santos and Moses Caicedo holding. Estevao, Enzo Fernandez, Pedro Neto behind João Pedro. So plenty of familiar names there for Brighton, with Cucurella, Caicedo and João Pedro all making the move at one point or another from Brighton to Chelsea. 1 change for Brighton, that from a 2-2 draw with Spurs. Diego Gomez, who scored 4 goals in Brighton's hammering of Barnsley in the League Cup. They won 6-0, and the Paraguayan Diego Gomez scored 4 of them, so he's rewarded with a Premier League start. Brian Gruder is the man to miss out. Bart Verbruggen is the goalkeeper. Joel Veltman, Jan-Paul Van Hecke, Lewis Dunk and Ferdi Kadioglu the back 4. Carlos Baleba and Yassin Ayari making his 50th Brighton appearance in the midfield. Yakuba Minter, Diego Gomez, Karu Mitoma behind Jorginho Ruter up front. And a couple of noticeable names on the Chelsea bench: Benoit Badiashile and Romeo Lavia, who have not featured at all this season, are both named as Chelsea substitutes. Stamford Bridge in fine voice. The fans delighted to be back at home. They have a run now of home games, and Enzo Maresca has said in his programme that this is the time to take advantage of this spell at home. Chelsea are good at home, and we'll see what they can bring against a Brighton side, as Mark has mentioned, that do score goals but concede them as well. And the cliche, Mark, is often the first goal is crucial, but Brighton unbeaten in the last 16 Premier League games when they have scored first. So the first goal today feels like it carries more significance maybe than it might.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, I think certainly for Brighton, less for Chelsea. I mean, I mean, I say that and it contradicts what I'm saying, because like you mentioned that stat, Brighton score first, it's going to be statistically a difficult one for Chelsea. However, Chelsea at home, with the attacking force that they have, Brighton's I think vulnerability at the back is one that Chelsea can exploit today.
So we are underway on 5 Sports Extra 2 on BBC Sounds. Brighton getting us underway, kicking from left to right as we watch from the gods, all in yellow from head to toe. A little bit of white and blue stripes are visible on the shirts, and Chelsea all in blue, the home kit. From right to left they go, away from the Matthew Harding stand and towards the shed end, and they have early possession of the ball. Van Hecke into the back of João Pedro, and that'll be a free kick to Chelsea inside the centre circle. We will keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in up and down the country in the various competitions, and we'll keep you across all the various sporting events going on as well. We've had to drag Mark away from the golf that he was very much enjoying. Blue is the colour at Stamford Bridge, and blue at the moment very much the colour over at Bethpage Black. Uninterrupted coverage continues on Sports Extra 3 with Crystal Palace Liverpool, the game over on 5 Live currently. Chelsea building, Mark Cucurella being healthily booed by the Brighton fans. Pedro Neto, edge of the area, left hand side, onto his right foot, back onto his left, just outside the box is Fernandes. Estevao was the target with his deep ball into the penalty area. Reece James gets in front of Mitoma and keeps Chelsea moving forward. Caicedo, pocket of space outside the box. João Pedro's little touch. Van Hecke just about scrambles it away, but the clearance is not overly convincing, and a foul by Baleba on Fernandes means Chelsea have a free kick dead centre of the Brighton half.
Yeah, I mean, it was good little play from Chelsea, really quick feet, ball movement was excellent. Brighton was scrambling at times. Reece James at the far post did really well. He closes Mitoma down really well and waits for that first touch, and then takes over the ball again, takes possession back, and from that point onwards it was Chelsea moving the ball left and right, and that's where the foul then is committed on Fernandes in a central position. And I tell you what, Chelsea will fancy themselves having a go from this sort of direction, this distance from goal.
Well, if memory serves me, Cole Palmer scored a free kick against Brighton from a similar distance last season. He's not on the field. Enzo Fernandez and Reece James are the two over this. Pedro Neto was interested for a fleeting moment, but he's now retreated to the edge of the penalty area. And Fernandes and James wait over this. This is centrally positioned, a good 35 yards out. It is Enzo Fernandez, beats the wall, and Verbruggen has to palm away at his front post, and that's out of play for a corner. A long way out. Verbruggen always favourite to save it, but a decent hit nonetheless from Fernandes.
Yeah, that was a good strike. A good strike from Fernandes. He just, from the moment the free kick was given, you could see he just lined it up. He was so fancying himself having that shot. It's a nice strike. Verbruggen does well. One step across to his right-hand side. It's a really nice, strong right fist. I think maybe the ball was going past the post, but the keeper is not to know from that angle. And
here comes the Reece James corner into the front post. That's headed away powerfully by Ruter. And now Minter looking to put Estevao under pressure, but Estevao does well and plays it all the way back to Robert Sanchez, all in green, back in the Chelsea goal following his one-match suspension for that absolutely bonkers first half at Old Trafford, Mark. 3 substitutions in the opening 21 minutes. It was the first Premier League match in history to see 2 or more goals, red cards and substitutions occur in the first half. Chelsea ultimately losing the game, and that's their first Premier League defeat of the season. Sanchez, Chalobah and Caicedo in the centre of the Chelsea midfield. Caicedo squirms away from Ayari, and now there is space for Neto, who's approaching the edge of the Brighton penalty area in the sunshine, onto his left foot, shoots, and a good Veltman challenge to prevent Verbruggen making a save, but at the expense of another Chelsea corner.
Yeah, Pedro there wanted the ball on his left-hand side. Always seemed like he wanted to try and squeeze a shot from an acute angle, and Brighton defenders did well. Veltman came across, timed his dive perfectly. It had to be fair, there was about 3 or 4 Brighton players in the way. I think it was pretty predictable from Pedro in the end.
First goals of the English 3 o'clock kickoffs have come in League 2. MK Dons leading away at Shrewsbury, and Colchester United leading away at Fleetwood Town. Here comes the short corner. Caicedo under pressure, very quickly out to Andre Santos, and now Fernandes, angle of the penalty area, left hand side, the header only to Cucurella, who shoots only just wide. Well, that would have been a very popular goal for those in blue and a very unpopular goal for those in white and blue, but Cucurella's left foot shot in the end a couple of yards wide.
Yeah, it was a bit of a snapshot, wasn't it? It's never really kind of got control of it, but it was a good effort, and it had the goalkeeper scrambling across to his right-hand side.
In Scotland, Kelty Hearts lead away at Hove Rangers by 1-0. That's in Scottish League 1, and in the Scottish Championship, Ayr United 1, Airdrieonians 0. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. 5 Sports Extra, 2 from the BBC. Brighton, for the first time in this game coming forward, Mintes' low ball in was awkward for Caicedo, who made it even more awkward for Robert Sanchez by bobbling a back pass to him. The goalkeeper does well, and then the left foot volley from Baleba takes a nick of a Chelsea shirt, and out of play for a Brighton corner. And from a Chelsea perspective, that felt all rather needless.
Yeah, it's just a bit sloppy, wasn't it? Too lacklustre, taking too much time in their own box then allows Brighton to really put pressure on the ball, and then they find themselves trying to defend the corner. Really pointless.
Brighton with the first opportunity to test the back line of Chelsea. Brighton, who do normally concede, but they do normally score as well. They have been a very exciting team to watch under the young Fabian Hürzeler, and they have a corner near side the right as they kick from left to right. Mitoma with the orange boots. The ball swung in well towards the back post. Veltman was lurking. It was a really good delivery by Yassin Ayari. Brighton still have possession with Diego Gomez, but the flag up on this near side. Offside, and Chelsea have a free kick.
Yeah, it was a really good ball into the box. Just unfortunate for Brighton. It was just someone who's strayed a little bit offside. Trevor Chalobah gets enough on the ball as it comes whizzing across the 10-yard box, and it just puts off the Brighton player.
Chelsea, as is their way, playing it out from the back, not overly smoothly. Sanchez's pass was a little bit heavy, and Hato couldn't really do much with the pass, and out of play it goes for a Brighton throw, which Veltman, number 34 on his back, will take midway through the Chelsea half. The bright sunshine and the shadows very visible. Lovely touch Minte into the penalty area, then drags Caicedo to the floor, and the referee gives Chelsea a free kick. Thought for a moment he might allow play to continue, but no, Chelsea have this free kick. 0-0 with Brighton, and we played 7 minutes. Yeah,
it was a pretty poor pass, wasn't it, from Robert Sanchez. Puts his defender under a lot of pressure. Hato tries to find Cucurella on the touchline, but just kind of skews it out for a throw. And from that is where the danger then starts. Chelsea just have to be careful, play it simple.
And just as Mark was mentioning how unsimple Chelsea are making it, Sanchez very nearly gives it away, but instead it's Chelsea moving forward with João Pedro, and now Estevao on the angle, onto his left foot, and his left foot something or other, cross, shot into the midriff of Ayari. Play continues, Neto's ball in, that's blocked at source, all a little bit loose on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. Caicedo snaps into a challenge, as does Veltman, and he left a little bit on, and therefore a yellow card has been given to Joel Veltman, who feels very hard done by. Chelsea free kick, Veltman into the book. One of those, Mark, gets the ball, but the follow-through is what Simon Hooper doesn't like.
Yeah, it was quite aggressive, wasn't it, from Veltman? I mean, I'm not sure, because it was Enzo Fernandez going for the ball. Veltman thought he wanted to leave a little bit on him. I don't think there's much been on him at all. That's why Veltman was so upset about the yellow card, because Fernandez is quickly up on his feet after wriggling around for a little while. Doesn't seem to really be bothered by it, but Chelsea have got a free kick in a very dangerous position.
It looked a good challenge, won a lot of the ball, and I think Joel Veltman's reaction was understandable.
It's kind of an old sort of school challenge, wasn't it? And I think they're the ones that you kind of think, well, not really sure whether or not it was because of the fact that it was so much force and maybe lost a little bit of control.
So, end result is this Chelsea free kick that's on the angle. It's played short to James, who bends it beautifully towards the back post, and Verbruggen makes another good save, this time to his left, really well hit by the Chelsea captain, and that's a good Verbruggen save. Yeah,
firstly, it's a fantastic save from Verbruggen. He does so well, watches, because you can see Chelsea, they play a little short free kick. Neto just jumps over the ball and rolls it back towards James into his path. He takes one touch and tries to curl it in that far post, and Verbruggen does so well to scramble across.
Chelsea corner, far side the left. doesn't really beat the first man at the front post. James nudges it back to Caicedo, who's all the way on the halfway line, so can't really do much with this, and offloads it to Enzo Fernandez via Andre Santos. All of this in the middle of the Brighton half, base of the centre circle. Chelsea plotting forward slowly. Palace in front at home to Liverpool. Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 0. That's the game over on 5 Live. Ismaila Sarr has scored there. Jayden Philogene has put Ipswich in front at Portman Road against Portsmouth in the Championship. And in League 2, Ollie Palmer has scored for Swindon. They lead Bromley by a goal to 0. And Mansfield 0, Rotherham 1 at Field 0 is another latest score from League 1. At Stamford Bridge, Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. Fernandez inside the centre circle. Chalobah and James, and all the way back to Robert Sanchez. And we thought it would be lively, Mark, and the first 10 minutes has been exactly that.
It has been. I mean, Brighton's half chances have come from Chelsea just taking too much time on the ball. Sanchez a couple of times, wayward passes, wayward clearance, and then for Brighton, overplaying sometimes out at the back. Chelsea obviously is set up. They know, everyone knows what Brighton want to do. They look to try and close them down in numbers. They double up on players, and a couple of times they've won the ball really high up in Brighton's half, and that's from there they've created half chances.
Brighton have won just one of their last 12 visits to Stamford Bridge in all competitions. They did have a terrible record against Chelsea for a long time. They've won 3 of their last 6 meetings, though, having not won any of the 14 previous. So recent history tells you that Brighton are much more competitive against Chelsea than they were once upon a time. Enzo Fernandez all the way back to Robert Sanchez inside the Chelsea penalty area. Good noise around Stamford Bridge. Lovely touch, Estevao. The noise level increased after that piece of skill from the young Brazilian, and now he's into the penalty area. Estevao, right foot shot, blocked by Van Hecke. Maybe took a little too much time, but the initial turn away was wonderful.
Yeah, I think he's taken that one too many touches into the box there. João Pedro was looking to try and find some space. I think he needed to look to try and lay it square, because as he goes into the box, the Brighton players just coming across and closing the angle down. It becomes less and less of an opportunity for him to get that shot away, and by the time he lets loose with one, it's the defender that comes across and sticks his foot out. Good block.
Resulting in yet another Chelsea corner, this one on the far side, the right. Oh, and it's sloppy from Chelsea. They went short, Neto and Santos, or rather Neto and Hato, and when Hato played the ball back to Neto, he was still standing by the corner flag. Brighton are pushed up, offside flag goes up, and that's a little bit of a waste.
Yeah, we see it so often, don't we? We see players play that short corner, and the one player that receives the first ball just goes a little bit early and trying to play it back to his teammate, and of course he's still in an offside position. Wasted opportunity for Chelsea.
And an Athletic 2-0 up at home to East Kilbride in Scottish League 2. In Scottish League 1, Peterhead have taken the lead at home to Alloa Athletic. Matt Butcher has put Salford City in front against Bristol Rovers. That's down at Bristol Rovers in League 2. And you're up to date on 5 Sports Extra 2. Van Hecke in shade. Now into sunshine, and Veltman, the Brighton right back, on that yellow card, drifts the ball hopefully down the line, and it's one for Gomez to chase. And it did look like he was having his shirt pulled by Caicedo, and he looked pleadingly towards the assistant referee, who had the best view, and he was quite happy with that skirmish. The ball skips out of play and Chelsea have a goal kick. 13 and a bit minutes play. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. There is so much sport to keep across on the 5 Live network. Palace Liverpool on 5 Live. We've got the Women's Rugby Union World Cup final to come, Canada-England at Twickenham. That'll start on 5 Sports Extra. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff, and then 5 Live will join it at the culmination of Crystal Palace-Liverpool. The Ryder Cup, of course, continues. Uninterrupted coverage on 5 Sports Extra 3. And 5 Live will ultimately join that when the rugby is done later. João Pedro, lovely ball. Estevao, is this his moment? No. It's another really good challenge by Van Hecke. He just opened up his body, Estevao, and Van Hecke read exactly what he was trying to do.
Yeah, João Pedro does so well initially, because he could have a shot himself. Instead, sees his teammate Estevao in a really good position. As he plays the ball across, Estevao comes back on his left, and by doing so, Van Hecke has an opportunity to come across, and he makes a last-ditch sliding tackle and a really good block. So well defended.
João Pedro picking up some really good positions for Chelsea on the edge of Brighton's penalty area, but still 0-0 as we tick towards 15 minutes. Manchester City in front at home to Burnley. It's a Maxime Stev own goal, and Lincoln City in front away at Peterborough United, that in League One. Adam Reach has scored at London Road. Enzo Fernandez, first time ball, was just behind the run of Andre Santos as he made his way into the penalty area, but he does well to prevent the clean Kadioglu clearance, and Chelsea will have this throw in this left-back position. 15 minutes in, Chelsea 0, Brighton 0. Chelsea's excellent Stamford Bridge recent Premier League record underpinned by their defensive record, 7 clean sheets in their last 9 at the Bridge. Clean sheets in the last 3 at home. They're looking to make it 4 in a row for the first time since 2021, that under the current England manager Thomas Tuchel. João Pedro is hauled to the floor just outside the penalty area, and that'll be another Chelsea free kick. And Mark, these free kicks from this sort of range are racking up.
Yeah, they are, and Brighton are just a little bit too heavy-handed in and around that sort of 25-30 yards out from João Pedro. There gets his body in between him and Lewis Dunk, does really well. Lewis Dunk just grabs hold of him. It's just a really needlessly sort of free kick to give away.
And it's another opportunity for Chelsea. 25 yards out. It's closer to the angle of the penalty area than the D, so it favours the left foot of Pedro Neto, you feel, but Reece James is there as well, unsurprisingly, given how well he hit the last free kick, but that was from the other side. It's not really his angle, unless he decides to cross to the back post. And that's what he does. James dinks into the box, João Pedro was there, and did that take a nick off a yellow shirt? Last it did. And it's another Chelsea corner. That was, well, we've seen those sort of shots at Bethpage, that little pitching wedge into the green. It was like that, wasn't it, from Reece James? A little pitch over the top and very nearly worked out.
Well, it was delicate, if that's what you're trying to allude to. Yes,
yeah,
it was. It was a nice, delicate little chip into that edge of the 6-yard box there. João Pedro didn't have a lot of opportunity to get on the end of it. A lot of Brighton players around him, a lot of bodies, a lot of arms. But in the end, Chelsea get that corner.
And here it comes. James into the box, but Bruggen comes and didn't really get anything on that. Was helped by Van Hecker, who headed it to comparative safety, and that's the far side, the right, very close to the corner flag. And Chelsea have a throw.
I think it's fortunate that Verbrugge didn't get anything on it, because otherwise it probably would have been Van Hecker's head. That's how close that was.
Chelsea slowly turning the screw. Will they take one of these chances? Fernandez on the edge of the penalty area, far side, the right. Infield to Caicedo, immediately closed down by Diego Gomez, and such was the Paraguayan's persistence there. Caicedo rushed the pass, and that's straight into the gloves, or rather straight at the feet of Bart Verbruggen, who will just waste a few seconds and allow João Pedro to close him down before picking up and getting Brighton on their way. Diego Gomez, loose touch. Estevão nips in the double kiss, and Chelsea have a throw midway through the Brighton half. Cardiff up at Wigan. Wigan 0, Cardiff 1. Perry and G has scored for the Welsh side, going very well at the top end of League One. And Greenock Morton 0, Ross County 1 is the latest score from the Scottish Championship. Chelsea now lose their way just inside their own half. Minter into the box, right-hand side. He's got numbers to aim for. Ruter's at the back post. It's towards Ruter, and that was not too far away from him. Nice little ball into the back post, and had Ruter been 2 or 3 yards further forward, he was tapping in for 1-0 Brighton. Yeah,
Ruter really had to gamble, didn't he? Had to make that run really early there. Minter, right idea. I think he's actually overhit that a little bit. I don't think Ruter had any chance of getting on the end of it. Ruter, that's probably the reason why he didn't even make the effort. But it was a dangerous ball nonetheless. And they're the type of balls that can cause all sorts of problems. Defenders sticking their foot out, attackers running onto it, and they're the ones that really start to ask questions in your box amongst your teammates and your defenders.
Yeah, that corridor of uncertainty, to carry on the cricket analogies from Kevin earlier. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0, 19 minutes played. That's still a very pleasant and warm and sunny Stamford Bridge. The sun we can see, or at least we can see the sun on the field, and the shade from the roof of the stand that we're in. Gradually the sun will disappear and the shade will encroach over more of the field. Free kick Brighton now, and there's a loud cheer from the Brighton fans because they feel they haven't had the rub of the green from referee Simon Hooper. And those cheers are are being extended. They enjoyed that, and this Brighton free kick in a position of promise just outside the penalty area, level with the angle, so it's a crossing position rather than a shooting one.
Yeah, this is all about the delivery. Right height, right pace. Get in that sort of 6-yard area, edge of the 6-yard line, get runners onto the end of it. So difficult to defend against for the goalkeeper, for the defenders. For attackers, it's a joy. Run onto the end of it, get anything on it. Could easily be in the back of the net.
Van Hecke, Dunk, both inside the Chelsea box. In comes the free kick, straight into the gloves of Sanchez. Not one of Mitoma's better ones, that. And Chelsea looked to counter-attack. Enzo Fernandez was then caught, and that'll be a free kick to Chelsea. Simon Hooper waited for the advantage, didn't come, and we're back for this free kick, base of the centre circle, inside the Chelsea half.
I'm wondering which one he's going to go to, because I think there was a foul firstly on Sanchez, then there was one on Fernandez. He tried to play the advantage. I think it's going to go all the way back to Sanchez. Is it? No, it's going to go on where Fernandez was.
Yep. Brighton have shown, despite their defensive work they've had to do in the opening 20 minutes, that they still offer threats going forward. And the way Chelsea play, you always feel that teams are in it against them. Cucurella down the line, little touch from Estevao, who's come out to this near side the right. So Neto now operating on the right hand side. Sanchez with a sliced clearance. Dunk will lose his header to James, who's now operating as a centre forward, is the Chelsea captain. Now Moses Caicedo, pocket of space just inside his own half. Hato, and Chelsea will just calm things down. 0-0 with Brighton, 5 Sports Extra 2. Live Premier League action with Crystal Palace still leading Liverpool by 1-0 at Selhurst Park. That game available on 5 Live. Manchester City are 1 up at home to Burnley. João Pedro turns away, heads towards the penalty area. Numbers left and right try the intricate pass to Enzo Fernandez. Neto will pick it up, lifted to the back post where Estevao was lurking. The clearance to James, and now Cucurella with his massive black hair bobbing up and down, wearing the blue base layer. Back to Hato, near side the left, about 25 yards out, and now all the way back to Caicedo inside the centre circle. Chelsea looking to monopolise possession. That's a poor touch, Estevao, in stark contrast to his very nice touch on the opposite flank. This one lets him down, and Brighton have a throw, 0-0.
Yeah, that's a bit harsh on him, I think, as well. I think the ball from Hato was a poor one. It was behind him at pace. He was lunging towards it. Would have been an incredible touch to keep it in play.
Nice little pass back from Chalobah to Sanchez, who does go long this time. Fernandez battling in midfield with Carlos Baleba. Fernandez lost that particular skirmish and is still on the floor, wincing in pain. Referee is allowing play to continue. Chelsea do have the ball. Estevao flicks it in field. The blonde Van Hecke with the headed clearance on halfway. Now Ruter, who was thrown to the floor by Hato, but it was a fair challenge. And Enzo Fernandez, who's back on his feet and looks okay, can plot Chelsea forward again. Stockport 1, Reading 0 in League One. Kyle Wootton has scored for Stockport. Ayr United 3, Airdronians 0. That in the Scottish Championship. And Peterhead now 2-0 up at home to Alloa in Scottish League One. Neto making progress down the far side, the right for Chelsea. And he's won his side another throw, which is taken quickly by Reece James. And now Chalobah to Caicedo, the former Brighton midfielder, getting plenty of touches inside the Chelsea midfield. Another former Brighton player, Cucurella to Hato. Hato to Chalobah. And this is what Mark Chelsea are renowned for under Enzo Maresca, the patient, short passing, waiting for the moment to increase the tempo and strike. It comes now. Fine ball, Caicedo. James on the edge of the box. Ball to the back post is headed in by Enzo Fernandez. And Chelsea have the lead at Stamford Bridge. Enzo Fernandez, a back post header to convert Reece James' cross. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0.
Yeah, it all starts from a Caicedo pass down the right-hand side. Really nice vision, control, pace on the ball into Reece James. He takes a touch. As he whips his cross in, it takes a pretty heavy deflection. And the ball pops up to that far post. And that's where Enzo Fernandez just unmarked, simple tap in for about 6 yards out. And the linesman there waved as if it was a goal. We'll have to wait and see. No reason why I don't think there would be a goal. Maybe the offside. We'll see as the ball comes in. From our angle, it's difficult to say, but Fernandez uncontested. It was a simple header into the back of the net.
Yeah, there will be a couple of checks for offside. The initial ball from Caicedo to James, whether James was level, and then it's the ball from James into Enzo Fernandez, which did take a deflection, actually, that cross, and Fernandez at the back post to head in. So we all wait for Simon Hooper, the referee, to indicate what semi-automated offside will dictate. Although, because both are pretty close, you wonder whether it might have to be the manual version. But Simon Hooper walking with purpose to the halfway line, and is going to give the goal. So no problems. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0.
Yeah, it's probably what Chelsea deserve right now. They've been the more dominant side, and they've taken a chance.
However, from kick-off, they're a little bit loose. That's a fine Chalobah challenge to prevent Diego Gomez striding through. He looks accusingly at the referee, who said it was a fair challenge. And Chelsea with the lead now have the ball back and are playing it forward with purpose again. However, Enzo Fernandez, the goal scorer, that pass a little bit loose. Verbruggen comes charging out of goal, and Reece James will play it all the way back to Sanchez. Enzo Fernandez, who does crop up with many an important goal for Chelsea, his third of the season, his 19th for Chelsea, a player that is often regarded as more of a holding midfielder, a defensive midfielder, but he does make those late runs ever so well, doesn't he? And he's shown that again today with an unchecked, unmarked run to the back post.
Yeah, I think he's doing it more and more for Chelsea these days, isn't he? I think they've got a bit more stability in midfield, and it allows Fernandez to go forward more. And then he's shown time and time again he's the one that can get into the box late. Those late runs are so difficult to track, and it was a good finish.
Bournemouth in front at Ellen Road against Leeds. Leeds 0, Bournemouth 1. Antoine Semenyo has scored again. What a fine start to the season Semenyo has had. Hull City in front at Watford in the Championship. Watford 0, Hull 1. And in Scotland, Dundee 0, Kilmarnock 1. That in the Scottish Championship. And in Scottish League 1, Peterhead 2, Alloa Athletic 1. Goal back for Alloa. And Hamilton 1, Stenhousemuir 0. At Stamford Bridge, as the sun disappears behind a cloud, Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. Brighton looking for an immediate response. Minter away from Cucurella into the box. Cucurella recovers.
Yeah, Minter's turn of pace was exceptional. But I tell you what, Cucurella does so well. I thought he was gone. I thought Minter was definitely going to get that ball across his face to the 6-yard box. But I tell you what, Cucurella, you've got to give him credit. He put his head down and made the last-ditch sliding challenge.
He's one of those players, Cucurella, that is surprisingly quick. I don't think you think he's going to be as quick as he is, and then he covers the ground quickly. Minter with the dink to Robert Sanchez. Brighton went short from the corner, but it was a move that ran out of ambition and idea relatively quickly. And now Neto is surging forward for Chelsea on the counter-attack. He's into the box. His cross-come shot will zip across the penalty area and out of play for a goal kick before Estevao can turn it home. But if you're Fabian Hürzeler, you're scratching your head as to how his team has gone from a threatening corner to being on the back foot in the matter of seconds.
Well, it's numbers in the box, isn't it? They put a lot of players forward, Brighton. And because the delivery was a simple one to the goalkeeper, he got an opportunity to try and turn that defensive setup into an attack. And Neto was on his bike. The minute that ball gets lobbed into the box, he's already turning to look to try and get in behind Brighton. Brighton
escaped the Chelsea press really nicely, and it's Kadioglu leading this latest attack. Mitoma's on the far side, the left, cutting in field with, again, a pair of garish orange boots. There are a few in Brighton yellow that are wearing those boots. Van Hecker is one of them, so too is Dunk, and the two centre-halves exchange passes. Gomez gets involved, and Dunk again can sidle forward. Mitoma hugging the touchline, far side the left. The Japanese international coming in field, and now all the way back into the Brighton half. So many away goals, it feels like, in the EFL this afternoon. Norwich have an away goal at Stoke. Stoke 0, Norwich 1. Minter, right-hand side of the penalty area. The back-pedalling Cucurella. Minter keeps going onto his left foot, beats two. Oh, and the referee is right in the way of Yassin Ayari. Brighton continue, and they will win a free kick. Caicedo bundling Baleba to the floor, but Yassin Ayari was ready to pull the trigger in all sorts of space from just outside the penalty area, and Brighton have every right to be aggrieved with the referee there.
I just don't know what the referee's got to do. I don't know where he's going to go. He hasn't moved. The referee has stood there the whole time. And, I mean, the only thing you could say is, OK, maybe he needs to try and back away, but he's got his back to Ayari. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's a difficult one, really is. I feel for the referee in that situation.
Well, you can hear the Brighton fans and what they think. Yeah, if you're Simon Hooper, you're thinking, where am I supposed to go? And if you're Yasin Ayari, you're thinking, why are you there? Because had he not been, it was a free shot on goal and could easily have ended in a Brighton equaliser. As it is, from the almost exact spot where referee Hooper got in the way of Ayari, Brighton have this free kick after Baleba was fouled. And this is an opportunity for Brighton to equalise. 25 yards out or so. Diego Gomez is over it. Ayari's there as well, and it is Ayari, and it's way over the bar. Didn't hit that with any real purpose or conviction, and he may have been frustrated with the referee for getting in the way of his open play shot, but he didn't really make the most of that dead ball situation.
Well, not at all. I mean, he didn't even test the goalkeeper. I mean, it was that wayward and over the crossbar in a good position. Just couldn't control the height as he tries to whip it over that wall.
Huddersfield are in front at Exeter in League One. Leo Castledine, who is on loan from Chelsea to Huddersfield, he's had an impressive start to life actually with Huddersfield, and they lead by a goal to nil. Exeter nil, Huddersfield 1 in League One. Ayr United 3, Airdronians 1 in the Scottish Championship, as João Pedro comes forward trying to bundle his way through two Brighton players, and in the end bundled a little too aggressively, and that will be a Brighton free kick very close to the corner flag. Fleetwood 1, Colchester 1, an equaliser for Fleetwood in League 2. Sheffield Wednesday in front at home to QPR in the Championship. Dominic Iorfa has scored for beleaguered Sheffield Wednesday, all the off-field problems that they continue to have. And Swindon have scored a second at home to Bromley in League 2. Swindon 2, Bromley 0. Brighton free kick. Chelsea lead by a goal to nil at Stamford Bridge. The goal from Enzo Fernandez, heading in across from Reece James. Brighton building methodically out from the back, not with any great conviction, and Mitoma's given it away and then tries his best to win it back, or rather that was Kadioglu. Mitoma then actually helps out his Turkish left back and wins it for Brighton, who can now stride over halfway. Rute to Minter, edge of the box, running at Kukurea, just outside the penalty area. Little dink with his left foot, the old flick-flack that Ronaldinho made so famous, but he couldn't break through the Chelsea wall. But Brighton have another corner. Yeah, it's a really good battle, isn't it? Minter against Cucurella down this side, the touchline. Minter's got so much pace, great control of the ball. And we said before, Cucurella has a lot more pace than probably one would think. He's done really well so far against him. Brighton corner. They've not taken advantage of the corners or the set pieces they've had thus far, with 32 minutes played on 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC. Here comes the Minter corner, deep to the back post, and I think Robert Sanchez, who adds another catch to his collection, has caught the majority of those corners and free kicks into his penalty area. Brighton are not doing enough with those. Plymouth in front away at Burton Albion. Laurent Tolai, the former Port Vale striker, has scored for Plymouth in League One. Burton 0, Plymouth 1, and in the Championship, Charlton in front against Blackburn Rovers. Charlton 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. In the Premier League at Selhurst Park, it remains Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 0. That game available on 5 Live. Leeds 0, Bournemouth 1, and Manchester City 1, Burnley 0. All of those like this 3 o'clock kickoffs. Forest Sunderland, Nottingham Forest Sunderland to come at 5:30. That's available for you on 5 Sports Extra. And then one more Premier League game to come at 8 o'clock tonight. Tottenham against Wolves. Chelsea leading the game and coming forward. Caicedo is challenged well by Mitoma, who himself then is tracked by Andre Santos, and that's out of play for a throw to Brighton. And with 11 minutes of the first half to play, Mark, the tempo and energy of the game has just dropped a little bit, but it has been an enjoyable watch so far. It has been, yeah, and you're right, it has. The tempo has dropped a little bit. The game's a little bit flatter. Crowd's gone also a little bit quieter. And for both sides, it's really just been a battle in midfield. No real chances created in these last sort of 10 minutes or so. But we know that can change very, very quickly with the way both of these teams like to play. Chelsea protecting this excellent home form. Their last loss came back in April against Legia Warsaw, but there is an asterisk by that because it was the second leg of their Europa Conference tie, and they were already comfortably ahead from the first leg in Poland, and Enzo Maresca played a young team. Warsaw won on the night but went out on aggregate. The last Premier League defeat came on Boxing Day against Fulham. Which gives you an idea of how long it's been since Chelsea last suffered defeat here at Stamford Bridge. But there has been a noticeable drop in tempo and energy, and you're right, Mark, it's coincided with the crowd. A little bit hushed as well. Van Hecke with the ball outside of his right foot is a good one. Kadioglu turns instantly. One more, it goes to Mitoma, coming in field. Back to Kadioglu. Challenged by Enzo Fernandez just on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. Chelsea don't really convincingly clear it. However, it's turned into a good one now. Neto, however, was just the wrong side of the halfway line. He was offside, and Brighton have this free kick. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0, 10 minutes of the first half to play.
Yeah, I think for Brighton, what's been disappointing this first half is that the delivery in the box. They've had some good positions, but the delivery, the final pass, has let them down. Too often it's ended up either in the hand of the goalkeeper or a little bit wayward.
Mitoma, far side the left, a couple of yards in from the touchline, wins a throw from Estevao, who can't believe the decision, stares at the referee, puts his hands on his face, but a throw to Brighton is Simon Hooper's decision. Level with the edge of the penalty area, far side. That's the Brighton right as they go from left to right, away from the shed end and towards the Matthew Harding stand. Ruter, lovely turn initially, but then he ran out of pitch rather quickly, and it's out of play for a Chelsea goal kick. Chesterfield 1, Newport 0 in League 2. Will Grigg has scored for Paul Cook's side in League 2, and here at Stamford Bridge with 9 minutes to play, Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. You can see both managers down below. Fabian Herzl, the youngest manager in the Premier League, and Enzo Maresca, who is maybe feeling the chill, the autumnal chill, because he's got a big puffer Chelsea silver jacket on with his black tracksuit trousers and his white trainers, looking very, very bright down there. And Brighton with a little bit of head tennis. Baleba playing it all the way back to Verbruggen. He was almost like a performing seal there, Baleba, for a little bit. He carried the ball on his head for 5 or 6 yards. Neto can't dispossess Van Hecke. Out of play it goes for a Brighton goal kick with 37 minutes played. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0.
I think Chelsea in this first 36 minutes, 37 minutes have hustled well for against Brighton. Brighton are obviously clearly set up all the time to try and play out at the back. And when they do, Chelsea's movement and organisation in that close has been generally pretty good.
Brighton a couple of times, though, have escaped the high press, and this is one of those occasions. Veltman to Baleba, who surges over halfway, and now he's approaching the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. Right-hand side, the ball at first look looks too pacey for Minte, but he collects it, running at Cucurella, onto his left, onto his right, and runs out of pitch. And for the second time in 5 minutes, the pitch dimensions causing chaos for Brighton.
Yeah, Cucurella does really well again. Doesn't dive in, holds his ground. He knows he's got the pace. Minter knows he's got pace as well, so he's got to do something special to try and get past him. And Cucurella just knows his angles really well, and Minter just runs out of space.
Crawley 0, Barrow 1 in League 2. Josh Gordon has scored there, and an equaliser for Leeds in the Premier League. Leeds 1, Bournemouth 1. Joe Rodon has got that goal for Daniel Farke's side after Antoine Semenyo had given Bournemouth the lead. Fernandez on halfway for Chelsea. They lead this game by a goal to 0. 5 Sports Extra 2. With Crystal Palace, Liverpool over on 5 Live. Nottingham Forest, Sunderland to come on Sports Extra at 5:30. It is one of those days where there is sport absolutely everywhere, all getting underway at various different times, and it means that BBC Sounds is very much your friend on days like this, where you can just flick between 5 Live, Sports Extra, and Sports Extra 2 and 3, and just take your fancy on the great sport going on this afternoon. Brighton building with Veltman, far side, near side the right, and that's Cucurella who snaps into a challenge and wins Chelsea a throw. Played it against Veltman, and that was some good defending by the former Brighton left-back.
Yeah, it was, and I think there's a bit of words being said between Veltman and Cucurella as well. Veltman obviously has to be careful. He's already got a yellow card, so he needs to toe the line. He just got up and ran straight back into position.
Simon Hooper has just stopped the game here to have a word with Van Hecke about something or other. The game had restarted, and Simon Hooper blew his whistle and had a quick word with Van Hecke about something or other. Not too sure what that was about.
I think he's actually had a word with both of them, both players.
Oh, and João Pedro.
Yeah, there's been a bit of argy-bargy going on.
A little word to say I'm watching intently. Throw taken, cleared high into the West London sky, drops inside the centre circle and then poked to the diminutive Estevao for Chelsea, and the ball is being worked infield. Chalobah to Hato, the two centre-backs combine. Now Chelsea on this near side, the left, Neto. A couple of touches by Fernandez. Neto continues his run and he'll get there in front of Van Hecke, who's now out of his centre-back home. Neto will run at Van Hecke. Good challenge. Really good challenge by the centre-back. Neto would have fancied his chances there, and had Van Hecke got that wrong, it would have been very close to a penalty, but it was a good challenge in the end.
Yeah, Van Hecke does well. I think he knew exactly what Neto wanted to do, wanted to take the ball back onto his right foot, trying to look to whip that ball into the box. He just read him so well. Timing was perfect.
Burnley have an equaliser away at Manchester City. Manchester City 1, Burnley 1. Jadon Anthony, another who's had a very good start to the season, has scored at the Etihad Stadium. MK Dons now 2 up away at Shrewsbury. Will Collar has doubled MK Dons' advantage. In League 1, Luton 1, Doncaster 0, and in Scottish League 2, Stranraer are in front away at Dumbarton. We're into the final 5 minutes of the first half at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea leading by Enzo Fernandez header. And Brighton have offered sporadic threats. Now Pedro's caught by Van Hecke in a dangerous position. And now Baleba has it. Very, very tight and congested in the centre of midfield. Cucurella comes barging into Diego Gomez. Got none of the ball, and that will be a yellow card for Marc Cucurella. It was all very congested, and it did have the feel of an attack that might be ended by that sort of tackle. Yeah, no, it was a clear foul, clear yellow card. There's nothing sinister in it. Gomez went down pretty theatrically, but you could see there Cucurella didn't really complain either. He knew, got his timing wrong on that one. So Marc Cucurella into Simon Hooper's notebook to join Joel Veltman. Can Brighton make something of this free kick? They have not taken advantage of the set pieces they've had so far in this game, and this free kick 40 yards out or so it's a crossing opportunity, and it's closer to the byline than it is the centre of the field, so into that corridor of uncertainty you feel this will go from the right-footed Ayari. Right arm in the air, delivers right on top of the penalty spot, and Dunk heads it over the bar, quite comfortably over the bar in the end. But half a chance for Brighton. That was at least, Mark, a better delivery. Oh,
brilliant ball. I thought it was an exceptional ball from Ari into the penalty area there. Lewis Dunk, you just expect him to get a better header on that. Full-blooded header. More control. Just did not control it. Had every opportunity to try and guide it anywhere in the goal. Instead, I think he just gets there a little bit too early.
The voice of former Australian international Mark Schwarzer, former Chelsea goalkeeper, with us on 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC. I notice in the Madrid derby, Atletico and Real, 1-1 the score. Kylian Mbappe has just equalised for Real Madrid after Robin Lenormand had put Atletico in front. So 1-1 in the Madrid derby. 1-0 Chelsea here in the Premier League. We have 2 minutes of the first half to play, and Brighton are building slowly in their back line. Ayari almost at walking pace. Short pass to Dunk, who's playing at left back at the moment. Baleba was sold a little short. João Pedro fancied that, but Baleba had the presence of mind just to get in front of his former teammate and poke it back towards Van Hecke. Chelsea are playing like a team that are quite happy to see this out until half-time, allowing Brighton all of the ball. Direct ball played by Ayari to Baleba, but Andre Santos in very quickly to quell that. Minter tries to dart away from Cucurella. That has been a battle worth keeping an eye on, but Van Hecke goes to the opposite side, and Dunk and Diego Gomez can exchange passes, and maybe both sides have decided that this is fine for the first half with 90 seconds of it to play. Direct goes for Bruggen, and that's a good ball as well. Mitoma will keep this in, far side the left, close to the corner flag. I say he'll keep it in because he didn't. It looked like he got there, but once he got there, his momentum made it difficult to control, and Chelsea have a throw.
I thought it was also Reece James really good, sort of closing him down, putting a bit of pressure on him there, made it very difficult for Mitoma to have any space on the ball, and doing so, he forces him to take a really heavy touch. And that's where the ball ends up out for a throw-in for Chelsea.
Chesterfield now 2-0 up at home to Newport County in League 2. Will Dixon has added another just on the stroke of half-time. Into the final minute of the first half here in West London. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. Caicedo scurrying over halfway. Fernandez touch to control and a right foot pass to bring Neto into the game. Approaching the angle of the box, left foot into the back of Joel Veltman. Flush on the back and out of play for a Chelsea throw, level with the edge of the Brighton penalty area. Many of the supporters just in front of us making their way out for a half-time refreshment. Here's Cucurella, left-hand side of the box, lifted hopefully towards the back post. Estevao uses his body to get in front of Kadioglu, and will keep this in play on that far side. The Chelsea right now needs help, which isn't particularly forthcoming. He's done really well, Estevao, to keep Kadioglu from the ball, because it looked like the Turkish left-back would rob him, but Estevao using his balance well and keeps Chelsea in possession. 2 minutes of added on time to play at the end of this first half, a first half that Chelsea lead by a 1-0.
Yeah, I think certainly Chelsea will be happy enough to sort of see this half out.
It's a lovely triangle. Andre Santos, Caicedo and James, and now Enzo Fernandez, left-hand side of the centre circle. João Pedro, central position. Fernandez out to this near side, the left. Cucurella, a couple of yards in from the touchline. Back to Caicedo. Chelsea not going forward here. Quite content to keep hold of the ball and quite happy to see this game out at 1-0 into half-time. Plymouth have a second at the Pirelli Stadium. Burton 0, Plymouth 2 in League One. Burton struggling towards the bottom end of League One. Both sides actually struggling towards the bottom end of the division. Sanchez with the bright orange gloves to Hato on the edge of his own penalty area. Minutes of stoppage time to play. Veltman will head this clear for Brighton. João Pedro will pick it up in a bit of space there, and he's away from Ayari and then away from Van Hecke. Good advantage played by Simon Hooper. Reece James is very quick to join the attack. Now it's Estevao backwards of square to Enzo Fernandez. Touch was not quite as secure as it needed to be, and he has to go backwards to make sure Chelsea still have the ball. It's all the way back into the Chelsea half. Caicedo and Fernandez. That wasn't a great ball by Hato. No free kick on Ruter. That did look like a foul, but no free kick, said Simon Hooper. And still we play on with 20 seconds of the first half to play, but it's at walking pace now. The game has almost stopped. Estevao, Andre Santos and Caicedo. Those three exchange very short passes in the space of about 10 yards just outside the centre circle. Neto in a slither of sunshine on this near side, the left. Back to Hato, and this, I'm sure, will be this for Chelsea, because they aren't going forward with any great tempo. The referee looks at his watch, blows his whistle, and that is half-time. Chelsea lead the game by a 1-0. Enzo Fernandez with a back post header. Reece James with the cross. Enzo Fernandez at the back post. No one tracked his run. Headed in his third goal of the season. Brighton have had moments. They've had decent balls into the penalty area. They've had a couple of minter runs on Cucurella. But on the balance of play, Mark Schwarzer, Chelsea just about deserve their advantage.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they've had the better chances, like you said. And obviously they've scored one, which is a really well-worked goal down the right-hand side. Yes, they got a bit fortunate with the semi-blocked sort of cross that looped up to the far post area. But Fernandez is the one that made that run. And it's a simple tap-in header from about, 5 yards out. From that point onwards, yeah, I think Brighton, the real chances they received were basically the back of Chelsea, probably giving them the ball away in bad areas. Yeah,
Brighton will want a lot more attacking threats in the second half. Chelsea, who have this great home record, 45 minutes away from extending it, and you look at the way the game has panned out. It started on the front foot, both sides actually giving it a real go. It did just drop in tempo, but you fully expect the longer the second half continues, if it stays 1-0, then Brighton will clearly give it more of a go.
I think there'll be more chances in the second half, of course, yeah, and the game will open up. You're right, Brighton will look to try and be a little bit more sort of positive going forward, creating more opportunities. Chelsea, again, I think we'll just do the same. I don't think anything will really change much in that second half. I think both sides will continue to try and play their game. Chelsea will try and block Brighton's play out in the back. They'll close them down. Vice versa. Brighton did that effectively at times against Chelsea. Put pressure on Robert Sanchez. We've seen it time and time again. Again today, 2-3 times. Bit of pressure on the ball. It's poor clearance. Almost got cut out once. It was very fortunate he had enough on it, as in pace-wise, for the Brighton player not to get the control and the opportunity to have a shot on goal. Otherwise, it could have been a very different scoreline at half-time.
Mark, for now, thank you very much. You'll be back with us for the second half at Stamford Bridge, but the half-time whistle sees Chelsea a goal to the good. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0, Enzo Fernandez with the goal. We'll be back for second half commentary on 5 Sports Extra 2, but in the meantime, we'll hand you back over to 5 Live.
A run for the first time on Mark Gahey in this first half, but Henderson gathered.
Half-time at Ellen Road, Julia.
It's Leeds 1, Bournemouth 1. The opening goal on 26 minutes for Bournemouth. Antoine Semenyo, a free kick inside the D, flew past the wall and past Carl Darlow in the back of the net. It was against the run of play as well. The Leeds equaliser 9 minutes later. Sean Longstaff into Joe Roden in the box, who headed the ball in the back of the net. Leeds should be well in front though. Leeds 1, Bournemouth 1.
Crystal Palace should be well in front. They could get another goal here. Ball has been sent forward by Sarr. Pierces the Liverpool back line. Sarr cuts in, enters the penalty area. Mateta leaves it. This is Wharton. Wharton back towards Mateta! Oh, it was almost a second goal. It has hit the right hand upright. He went for placement, he curls it. Crystal Palace, you know, they've not scored more than once in any of their last 12 league games against Liverpool, going back to 2019. They could have had 5 in this first half.
And that is not an exaggeration. I got to tell you, from where we're sitting, I thought this was in. It was Wharton, little cushion ball back to Mateta, who's on the edge of the D, and he bends the ball beautifully, finds the inside of the post. Not even Alisson could get near that. How unlucky have Palace been just to be the one ahead.
They could have been out of sight. Crawley 0, Barrow 2 is the latest score in League 2. Arne Slot will just be desperate. Hold on, here is Mateta again. He volleys the ball over. Arne Slot must be desperate to get Liverpool back into the dressing room for a talking to, because they could have been, seriously, 6, 7. Mateta there with a left-footed volley, narrowly over the crossbar.
He's only 8 yards out. And the Liverpool back line all over the place. Mateta times his run brilliantly. It's Wharton, I think, with the cushion header. Mateta lets it drop, but he's got to try and choke that one into the floor. He's only a yard over the bar, but from that range should really be hitting the target, should be scoring.
We've still got probably another 4.5 minutes of added time as well, because of the amount that has been added on here at Selhurst Park. Liverpool not at it. Crystal Palace full on certainly are. Half time at Manchester City, Mas Faruqi.
1-1 here. First the Burnley own goal after Dubravka spilled a Doku effort. Then the unexpected Burnley equaliser. Jadon Anthony with the strike that got tangled in the legs of Ruben Diaz, leaving Donnarumma flat-footed, and the score Manchester City 1, Burnley 1 at half time.
Thank you, Maz. Still Palace lead by a goal to 0. Here is Bradley passing the ball back to Alisson. Konate now takes over, gives it back towards Bradley. Salah just in from the right touch line. Mitchell, though, tracking him every step of the way, and still right up behind him again, and Salah forced to pass the ball back towards Konate. Gravenberch now drifts out to this near side, the right. Szoboszlai is available, collects that pass from Gravenberch. But as soon as they get the ball, Crystal Palace have plugged the gaps. There's just no way through.
Szoboszlai on the half turn, looking up, and there's just a big Palace wall in front of him.
Ball over the top. Here is Salah. Salah tries to lift it goalwards. Henderson made himself big, got the block in. Right in front of Salah behind for a corner kick.
Good decision from Henderson. Didn't commit. There's a Mo Salah run from, just moves towards the ball, then in behind Mark Gay. He uses his body brilliantly. He tries to lob Henderson. Henderson stands big and makes the save.
Szoboszlai on this near side, the right. Liverpool still trail by a goal to 0. It'll be an out-swinging corner kick. Szoboszlai, in it comes now, too deep, over everybody's head. Even the leaping Munoz on that far side as the ball goes back from Gravenberch. Alisson, he's gone walkabout. He comes to the right-hand side of the centre circle. He goes long, aims towards Kerkez, headed up in the air then by Munoz. They try to go on the outside with Gravenberch. Still Munoz, though, snaps away. We're inside now the last 60 seconds of stoppage time. Bradley with a cross, deep, and goes out. So these are the half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic 0, Hibs 0, Dundee United 0, Kilmarnock 1, Hearts 2, Falkirk 0, St Mirren 1, Dundee 0. Motherwell Aberdeen will get underway at 5:45. Half-times in League 2, Accrington 0, Walsall 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Salford 1, Chesterfield 2, Newport County 0, Crawley 0, Barrow 2, Fleetwood 1, Colchester 2, Gillingham the league leaders behind by a goal to nil to Harrogate Town, Grimsby 2, Cheltenham 1, Cheltenham down to 10, Shrewsbury 0, MK Dons 2, Swindon 2, Bromley 0. Half-times in League 1, Barnsley 0, Port Vale 0, Bradford City 0, Blackpool 0, Burton 0, Plymouth 2, Exeter 0, Huddersfield 1, Luton lead Doncaster by a goal to nil, Mansfield 0, Rotherham 1. No goals between Northampton and Bolton, Peterborough 0, Lincoln 1, Stockport 1, Reading 0, Wigan 0, Cardiff 1. Half-times in the Championship, Charlton 1, Blackburn Rovers 0, Ipswich 2, Portsmouth 0. As a cross from Szoboszlai is deep and curls all the way out of play for a goal kick. There are no goals at Oxford, Preston, Sheffield Wednesday lead QPR by a goal to nil. Southampton 0, Middlesbrough 0, Stoke 0, Norwich 1, Watford 0, Hull City 1. That should take the pressure off Mark when we hand back to him in a moment for the goal. But your thoughts, Chris Sutton?
Liverpool lucky to be in this game still. They're losing at half-time. Palace should be out of sight. I cannot remember a side so dominant against this Liverpool team for however long. Palace have been absolutely superb. They've got a great balance of the way they play, but a big half-time team talk from Arne Slot.
Crystal Palace, who are looking to equal a club record 18 games undefeated, have been superb, and their only grievance is that the margin is not greater than Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 0.
Thank you both. So elsewhere in the Premier League, Manchester City 1, Burnley 1, Leeds 1, Bournemouth 1, Chelsea lead Brighton by a goal to nil. Earlier, Brentford 3-1 winners over Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes missed a penalty. Whilst the football has been on, America have taken a point and Europe have taken a point. So it's 6.5, 3.5. John Murray is across it all. The golf is absolutely scintillating and nerve-wracking.
Absolutely gripping it is, Mark, and as you say, Europe have just won their first point of the day, and it's Fleetwood and McIlroy who've delivered again. They've won 3-2 against English and Morikawa, so they've now won 4 out of 4 playing foursomes together, and that is 3 points out of 3 for Tommy Fleetwood at this Ryder Cup so far. Earlier, Bryson DeChambeau and Cameron Young won the first point of the day, that for the United States, with a 4-2 win over Aubert and Fitzpatrick. Cantlay and Schauffele against Rahm and Hatton has been tremendous.
Bruising.
And the Europeans, yes, it has. It's gone blow for blow. And Rahm and Hatton remain 2 up with 4 holes to complete on the Americans. And likewise, the last match as well, Henley and Scheffler has staged quite the comeback. Scheffler has looked every inch the world number 1, and that match now is all square between the Europeans, McIntyre and Hovland, and the Americans, Scheffler and Henley. And as you say, the match score now 6.5, 3.5, with 2 of these morning foursomes to complete.
But very quickly, John, as much as Henley and Scheffler have clawed that back to all square, McIntyre on the par 3 14th has just stiffed it to within about 4 feet.
Yeah, they've as I say, Scheffler and Henley have come at them strong, and even though it's back to all square, McIntyre and Hovland have shown real grit.
Right. Back to the football. Half-times in the full-times in the Championship. Coventry beat Birmingham 3-0, Swansea 1, Millwall 1, and Wrexham 1, Derby 1. Let's start the half-times. We'll go to St Mary's. Becky.
Southampton 0, Middlesbrough 0. An encouraging first half for Southampton, but just haven't been accurate in their finishing. Finn Azaz and Adam Armstrong both going high and wide. Half a penalty shout was waved away. Ross Stewart, he did look to be clipped from behind, but nothing given. Middlesbrough's only chance was a Matt Target free kick, struck it well, hit the post and came to nothing.
Stoke against Norwich next. Sani.
Stoke 0, Norwich 1. Javon Makama finishing off from about half a yard out after an excellent team goal. Worked out to the right-hand side, low cross. Easy finish for him. Stoke, though, have been the better side for periods of this game. Biggest chance for them. Bae-Jun-ho through on goal, ricocheting off defender Jakub Medic, and Medic having to scramble back to clear off the line. Half-time, Stoke 0, Norwich 1.
Preston Bristol City goalless. This could be quick, I'm guessing, Rob?
Yeah, if the golf is scintillating and enthralling, this is not. Contrasting styles on display here this afternoon. Bristol City have dominated possession with big chances. Preston have been trying to spring the counter. Neither has worked. Preston 0, Bristol City 0.
Sheffield Wednesday got their first win in the Championship last weekend. They look like they're on for 2 in a row. Nick Hatton.
Yes, they do. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0. I mentioned the sense of optimism ahead of the game. Very much the case at half-time. Dominic Iorfa's 29th minute header proving the difference so far. Lovely free kick from Barry Bannon on the left. Iorfa with a powerful header at the far post. Harry Amas, Bailey Cadamartri and Liam Palmer could have added to the score, but Wednesday looking good at the break. Sheffield Wednesday 1, QPR 0.
Sheffield United on for their first point, Nikesh Regani.
Yeah, still goalless here at Oxford United. Both sides creating very little, although the best chance of the half going to the visitors. Tyrese Campbell shooting wide from 8 yards out. Oxford United 0, Sheffield United 0.
Victor Hovland just sunk that putt on 14, and McIntyre and Hovland now 1 up again on Henley and Scheffler. Rahm and Hatton 2 up on Schauffele and Cantley. Elsewhere in the Championship, Charlton lead Blackburn by a goal to nil. Macaulay Gillespie with that for Nathan Jones' side. Ipswich are 2-0 up at home to Portsmouth. Jayden Philogene with his 4th of the season. George Hurst with his 3rd of the season. And at Vicarage Road, Watford 0, Hull 1 at the break. Ollie McBurney with his 5th of the season. Women's Rugby Union World Cup final about to get underway. James Burridge.
The top 2 in the world going head-to-head in front of 82,000. The biggest occasion for women's rugby. Can the Red Roses deal with the expectation? They haven't lost since the last World Cup final. 32 games unbeaten. Canada, though, have been breathtaking to watch this World Cup. They love a fast start, something England will be mindful of. This could go to the wire, and we've just got going.
Sports Extra or BBC One for that. In League One earlier, AFC Wimbledon 2, Wycombe 1. Stevenage went top of the table with a 3-2 win at Leyton Orient. How can Bradford respond? They're at home to Blackpool. Gavin Wallace.
It's 0-0 at the moment, Mark. Best chances came just right at the break. Northville with a header. He was running onto it, so it's probably always going to go over. But that was it from the Bantams. They probably had the vast majority of possession as well. But Blackpool putting on a good fight. 0-0 at the break.
Also goalless between Barnsley and Port Vale. Plymouth lead at Burton by 2-0. Laurent Tollage with his 4th of the season. Owen Asani with his 5th of the season there. It's Exeter 0, Huddersfield 1. Leo Castledine on loan from Chelsea has got the goal there. Luton lead Doncaster by a 0-0. Rotherham are 1-0 up at Mansfield. Goalless between Northampton and Bolton. Lincoln lead at Peterborough by a 0-0. Carl Wootton is Stockport's top scorer. His 6th of the season means they lead Reading by a 0-0. And Cardiff are 1-0 up at Wigan. Earlier in League 2, Crewe 2, Notts County 1, Oldham 1, Barnet 1. We're with Walsall at Accrington this afternoon. Shojo Saka.
Accrington 0, Walsall 0. 3rd in the table. Walsall had a really good chance through Charlie Lakin in the first half where he fired over the crossbar. 20-year-old Isaac Heath on loan from Everton.
Welcome back to Stamford Bridge. You're with 5 Sports Extra 2 from the BBC. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0, a half-time score from Stamford Bridge, and the second half not too far away from commencing, with Chelsea and Brighton in dribs and drabs heading out of the Stamford Bridge tunnel way down below us. Chelsea in their blue and Brighton in their yellow. Chelsea with a goal advantage given to them by Enzo Fernandez, a back post header from a deflected Reece James cross on the balance of play. They deserve the goal, but you'd expect more from Brighton in the second half, which is underway. Simon Hooper, the referee, who's in a purple shirt, blows his whistle, and Chelsea kicking from left to right, beg your pardon. That's away from the shed end and towards the Matthew Harding stand as we watch. And Brighton in their change strip this afternoon, the yellow shirts with the faint blue trim that runs vertically down the shirt. Yellow shorts, yellow socks, defending the goal away to our right, and they have the first free kick of the second half, which Yassin Ayari will stand over. I'll run you through the two teams in just a moment. Mark Schwarzer, former Australian international goalkeeper, watching on. How do you expect this second half to progress?
Well, I think from Chelsea's perspective, it'll be more of the same. They'll be obviously looking to try and push forward, close early, run up in Brighton's half, put a lot of pressure on the ball, win the ball high up, and then obviously take advantage of those opportunities. And for Brighton, they're going to have to be a little bit more sort of adventurous, I think. At times there's been too big a gap between defensive line and the front line, and they've been a little bit poor with their delivery in the box. That needs to improve as well.
Free kick to Chelsea, halfway line. Caicedo goes short to the goal scorer, Enzo Fernandez, who sets off towards the edge of the penalty area with purpose, and he's got the ball back from Neto. Into the box he goes, tight angle, manages to dig out a good-looking cross that Van Hecke clears. Baleba completes the clearance with a powerful header, but Chelsea have it straight back. Reece James has gone down under the challenge of Mitoma, and the referee has stopped the game. Whether he's given the free kick, I'm not sure. I think he's just stopped the game because both players need treatment.
Yeah, I don't think it's a challenge from Mitoma. I actually think it's Reece James on Mitoma, and he's actually hurt himself. Mitoma's not too bad. Mitoma's on the ground as well. They're both holding, I'm not sure if it's a knee, or certainly Reece James looked like he was holding his knee.
Yeah, it looks from the replay, maybe the way he landed. Yeah, Mitoma and Reece James challenge, and it's the way it looks like James lands on his right knee. And sadly, Mark, we know that he's...
Is it his right knee or his left foot? Looks like his ankle, maybe. His left ankle.
Yeah.
The way, yeah, there we go. It's his left ankle, I think, and he kind of steps on Mitoma's foot, I think, as well. So there's nothing in it in terms of a challenge.
No.
It's just a really unfortunate one, and often they're the ones that cause the most damage. You know, you're just not expecting it. Let's hope it's not too bad for Reece James.
Yeah, and we know, sadly for Chelsea and for Reece James, he's had a career checkered by lengthy injuries, so we hope this one isn't severe. He's on his feet, hence the ripple of applause that you heard. This is just outside the Brighton box, and he's on his feet and he's walking off, and he certainly looks like he's going to be okay, and there's no real movement on the Chelsea bench, but we'll see. We'll keep our eyes on that one. He's certainly walking off the field like he's about to be replaced.
Well, he looks actually all right. I think he looks pretty good. He's actually walking off with quite a bit of pace.
Yeah.
And if there was any doubt, I think he'd be kind of a lot more gingerly sort of walking off. I think he's fine.
Yeah, he does look okay, and he'll leave the field for a couple of seconds, then I'm sure will be waved back on. It is an uncontested drop ball in Chelsea's favour because they did have control of the football. That's a loose touch from Santos, and he's given it away, and here's Diego Gomez. He's away from Caicedo, who fouls him on the edge of the box. No, he doesn't. Wow, no free kick, says the referee. Well, I thought that looked a certain free kick, and that may well have been a big decision for the referee to make in terms of the colour of the card, because Diego Gomez was through on goal. VAR will have a little look in the background for a potential red card, but Mark Schwarzer, what did you make of that?
You know what? I don't think it's a foul. I think he gets the ball, and it looks like it's play on. I think the referee's played on. He's calling on Reece James now. I think it's play on. I think Caicedo does really, really well, and gets the ball, and he gets enough on it to play the ball through. Well, they're still checking, maybe not.
Yeah,
let's
VAR
wait and see.
is looking at this.
I think it's okay.
Checking that red card and checking a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Now, it's worth mentioning, we have no monitors here, so we're having to crane our necks to look at our Match of the Day colleagues' monitor. And Caicedo, he doesn't get any of the ball, Mark.
Does he not?
He clatters into the back of Diego Gomez, and I would not be at all surprised if this is given as a red. It wouldn't be a penalty because it's just outside the box, but it would be a red card for Moises Caicedo. The VAR is Darren England, and he's having a word with Simon Hooper.
Well, he'll probably get asked to go and have a look at the monitor then. I can't even see the replay because of the obstacles in our way.
Yeah, he doesn't get any of the ball, and it's clearly outside the penalty area.
Is there enough of a contact to warrant that, though?
Well, that is what Darren England will be questioning here. And still we wait, and still the message on the screens around Stamford Bridge, checking possible red card, denial of goal-scoring opportunity. Caicedo on Gomez.
Having watched it live, my initial thoughts are that there wasn't enough on it to warrant. We'll see. He's
having a look at the screen, and we normally know what this means. So Simon Hooper will make his way over to the far side of Stamford Bridge where the screen is, to have a look at whether or not Moises Caicedo should be sent off for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. And the nature, Mark, of the referral means that Darren England clearly thinks there's enough in this for a red card to be given.
Yeah, I could be completely wrong. Referees turned around and told the Chelsea players and the Brighton players to move further away from the pitch, on the side of the pitch where he's looking at the monitor.
It was sloppy from Chelsea. They gave the ball away, and then in Caicedo's attempt to win it back from Diego Gomez, who was clear on goal, there was no doubt that he was about to run through on Sanchez's goal. He is then clipped by Caicedo. So Simon Hooper is looking at this on the monitor on that far side. He's got players all around him. He's watching it intently. We're seeing a close-up replay now.
I don't think he can see it either properly. You know, he's obviously watching the replays on a number of occasions. It's not that clear. It's a difficult one.
He is taking his time over this. And we wait and wait and wait. He's seeing the replay now at full speed. There's no doubt it's a legitimate foul, if you see what I mean. There's no violence, there's no violent conduct, there's no intent, but
I think there's so much uncertainty. Here we go.
Here we go. And we wait and listen with interest. He draws the imaginary screen. Here comes his announcement.
After review, there is a clear foul by the Chelsea number 23.
He's going.
Therefore, it denies no scoring opportunity, resulting in a red card and a free kick.
Moises Caicedo is off.
Final decision is a red card to Chelsea number 23.
And that's a long walk off the field.
Actually, it's Trevor
Chalobah who's made the challenge.
There you go. Well, initial thoughts were incorrect. Here we go, we're seeing it now.
Yeah, it was Caicedo with the initial one, and then Chalobah coming in.
Okay.
And clearly clips Gomez. So, Chelsea are down to 10 men.
Why didn't they show this to us right at the beginning? Could have been an easy decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the replay. Yeah, it's absolutely right. That is a sending off, unfortunately, for Trevor Chalobah.
So no penalty because it was outside the box, but it was clearly a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. And now this free kick for Brighton is right on the edge of the box, and Chelsea will have to reshuffle. So they're reshuffling by bringing on Josh Acheampong. The young defender and Andre Santos game is over. So Trevor Chalobah off, sent off for denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity, and Josh Acheampong is coming on to replace Andre Santos, and that's a reinforcements at the back mark and sacrificing a midfield player.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you've got to reshuffle once you've got a player sent off, of course. But I think, you know what, that's another reason why VAR is so important. You know, the referee doesn't see it at the time, or decides that he doesn't feel like it's a penalty. They review it. It's watching the replay. It's clearly denying a goal-scoring opportunity. And for me, as an ex-player, I want to just see the right result, the right decision made on the pitch. And okay, this occasion it goes against one of my old teams, which is never great. But I just feel for the game, it's important to get the right decisions.
Max Wiefer is on the field as well for Joel Veltman, so Brighton also making a change. This free kick, 4 or 5 yards out from the penalty area, dead centre. It is very difficult to know whether it is in a position for the right footer or the left footer. Diego Gomez is over this, and so too is Yakuba Minter. So Gomez, who was fouled by Chalobah, or Yakuba Minter. For Brighton, it is Diego Gomez, goes for power, and it's over the crossbar. Hit it well, but always rising, and Chelsea have a goal kick. 1-0 they lead, but Trevor Chalobah sent off, and Chelsea down to 10 men.
That's a poor free kick. It really is. I mean, they've got, obviously Chelsea have got, what, 4 or 5 players in a wall. Brighton have put their own little wall in the gap. So you can see Robert Sanchez doesn't have really much of a view of the ball. You've got to keep the ball low. You've got to make the goalkeeper make a save, because you're trying to block his view. It's fine if you hit the ball goes over the crossbar. What was the point?
So the complexion of this game changes, with Chelsea leading by a goal to nil, but now playing with 10 men. So something they had to do for an awfully long time against Manchester United last time out. They lost the game at Old Trafford. They do lead this 1-0. Enzo Fernandez first half goal, but that should in theory give Brighton more of a spring in their step. Matoma's header in field. Caicedo, who initially gave the ball away, and with no monitors to see, it was Chalobah who, quite clearly when we did see the replay on the main screen in Stamford Bridge, was the guilty party, and that's why he's off the field. Some goals to update you in the Premier League. Sean Longstaff has scored again for Leeds, or at least has scored Leeds second. They now lead Bournemouth 2-1, having trailed by a goal to nil. Plymouth now lead Burton 3-0 at the Pirelli Stadium. And in League One, Bradford City have taken the lead against Blackpool. Bradford 1, Blackpool 0. Stoke have also equalised in the Championship against Norwich. Stoke 1, Norwich 1. And staying in the Championship, Sheffield Wednesday 1, QPR 1. Chelsea, despite their 10 men, are moving forward on that far side, the left. Pedro Neto is clipped and fouled by Weaver. That's his first act of the game. And this will be a Chelsea free kick on the angle of the penalty area.
Yeah, Chelsea have just got to stay nice and calm, keep possession, keep working it. Brighton, on the other hand, they're going to look to try and just nick that ball off Chelsea and try and hit them on a counter. When Chelsea ever try and come into Brighton's half, they'll obviously getting players forward, down to 10 men now. Is an opportunity for Brighton. Now they'll feel that space will open up a bit for them.
Neto with his free kick, 5 or 6 yards in from the touchline. Far side the left, as Chelsea go from left to right. Not too many in blue are inside the Brighton penalty area. João Pedro's on the penalty spot. Enzo Fernandez, Cucurella and Estevao inside the box too. Hato likewise. In comes the Neto free kick. Cucurella was lurking. The volley from Caicedo on the edge of the penalty area is cleared, and Brighton can hopefully, as far as they're concerned, turn this clearance into attack. But Mitoma runs into traffic. Estevao can't keep it in play, and Brighton have a throw far side the right. 58 minutes, so still plenty of time in this game. Plenty of time that Chelsea have to defend with 10 men. Fleetwood have equalised in League 2 against Colchester United. Fleetwood 2, Colchester United 2. And in the Scottish Championship, Ayr United 4, Airdronians 2. Baleba and Dunk, and all this inside the Brighton half. And presumably now, Mark, we will see the pattern of the game shift and Brighton having most of the possession.
Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you? You'd think Brighton now will fancy themselves to try and put a little bit more pressure on Chelsea, be in their half more in this second half, create some chances. Chelsea going to have to dig deep and try and wait for those opportunities that will come on the counter.
Ruter fouls Caicedo, and that will be a free kick to Chelsea, equidistant between penalty area and halfway line. Palace 1, Liverpool 0, latest score in the Premier League. That game over on 5 Live. No changes apart from the Ellen Road scoreline elsewhere in the Premier League, so still Manchester City 1, Burnley 1, with Nottingham Forest Sunderland to come at 5:30. That is on Sports Extra, with the Women's Rugby Union World Cup final, which is 20 minutes old. That's available now on 5 Sports Extra. It'll head over to 5 Live at 5 o'clock. Baleba's little chip ball forward. Mitoma slips and allows Estevao to scamper clear, and he will keep the ball in play well until Dunk, with an unceremonious slide challenge, ends Estevao's run, and this will be a throw to Chelsea. Canada 5, England 7, by the way, is the latest score in that Rugby Union World Cup final, with 15 minutes played at Twickenham. Mark Schwarzer.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, it's going to be a bit of a hustle and bustle this second half, isn't it? For Chelsea, they're taking their time as the ball goes out for a throw-in. They're going to slow the pace of the game down. They're going to waste every bit of minute they can, being down to 10 men. For Brighton, it'll be about trying to contain their energy, really, and about being calm. But having that one-man advantage, got to try and make the most of it.
Robert Sanchez with the Brighton supporters at his back, another former Brighton player. João Pedro in the middle of the Brighton half with a left-footed ball forward. That's too far for Pedro Neto to scamper onto. He appreciates the idea with the left arm in the air. And Verbruggen immediately bowls out to Lewis Dunk. And Brighton just harness some momentum with an hour played on Sports Extra 2 on BBC Sounds. Dunk into Van Hecke, centre circle. And his right-footed ball towards Mitoma is a good one. He finds the Japanese international, who controls immediately on the angle of the box left-hand side, onto his right foot. He's away from James. Infield, the give and go with Karioglu, and then the clearance was straight into Mitoma. And as they say, that could have gone anywhere. As it did, it went behind for a Chelsea goal kick, and they still lead 1-0.
If that's on target, that's going to be so difficult for the goalkeeper to save, because he's not expecting that. Caicedo, I'm not sure. I think he actually intentionally rifles that ball into Mitoma. I mean, it's a risky game to play in that sort of area. What, 14, 15 yards away from your goal.
Watford have equalised at home to Hull City. Imran Loser has scored at Vicarage Road. Watford 1, Hull City 1 in League 1. Peterborough 0, Lincoln City 2. Lincoln City, who put up a good fight against Chelsea in the League Cup, but Enzo Maresca's side eventually coming through at Sinsel Bank. Southampton lead against the Championship leaders Middlesbrough at St Mary's. Southampton 1, Middlesbrough 0. Adam Armstrong has scored for Will Still's side, another manager that could really do with a result. Will Still down at Southampton. Here at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. But Brighton now coming more and more into the game, playing against one fewer man. However, that's a move that breaks down. Gomez can't find Ruter. Chelsea have a throw left-back position.
Yeah, I think there's a point now where I think for Brighton, Fabian Hurtzler will possibly be looking to try and make some changes, because it doesn't seem to really be fluid enough for Brighton in midfield. Particular link-up play with the front couple haven't also been that great. I think there won't be too long until we see some changes, and of course you look at their bench, Danny Welbeck, James Milner, the two players that probably stand out for me.
Yeah, some years there, no question. Stefanos Tsimas is also on the bench. Here go Brighton, left-hand side with Ferdi Kadioglu, and he's away from two nicely, approaches the byline, low ball in, the touch from Gomez. I think he was in two minds there, whether to lay it off to Mitoma or take it for a shot himself, and in the end he did neither. Chelsea looking to build a slightly laboured counter-attack. That's a foul by Ayari on Caicedo, and Chelsea will be looking for those little free kicks to try and break up the Brighton momentum.
Yeah, I think they were a little bit fortunate to get a free kick there. Caicedo, believer there, wasn't happy with the referee for giving that a free kick. Doesn't believe it is. He's still remonstrating with the referee right now.
So another defensive-minded change for Chelsea. Estevao is coming off and Malo Gusto is coming on. So Gusto on the field, and Estevao's game is over. Again, showed glimpses, the young man. He's 19 years of age. Had a couple of chances in the first half where, had he taken the shot slightly earlier, he might have found more joy. Here's João Pedro on halfway for Chelsea as they go from left to right, and he's away from Baleba, coming in field and deciding to go all the way back to his goalkeeper Sanchez. Manchester City back in front at home to Burnley. Mateus Nunes has scored at the Etihad. Manchester City 2, Burnley 1. Here goes Cucurella, the overlapping Neto, edge of the penalty area, taking on Weaver. He's away from Weaver and is fouled by Weaver. Just on the edge of the penalty area. Won't be a penalty, but it will be a yellow card to Mats Weaver, and Brighton have another player into the book, and Chelsea have another free kick in a dangerous position.
Yeah, it's all what Chelsea need to do, really. Get in those sort of dangerous positions. Neto does really, really well, keeps possession well, does well with a drop of the shoulder and outside of Weaver, and Weaver in the end just gives away the free kick because he knows that Neto's gone. And if he doesn't bring him down outside the box, there's no chance he's going to do it inside the box.
Yes, if you're going to make that sort of challenge, make sure you do it 2 yards outside the box. So this is parallel with the edge of the 6-yard box, just outside the penalty area, to give you an idea of the geography of this. Two-man Brighton wall has been erected between the 6-yard box and the penalty area, and the edge of the box. Enzo Fernandez and Reece James are over this. Takes quickly, James fires it in. Brighton were caught napping there, but they were fortunate that it took a ricochet off a yellow shirt. And back into Chelsea possession it goes with Caicedo, who's on the angle of the box. He's away from two and then falls to the floor theatrically, and the referee waves him to his feet quickly, and it could be an opportunity for Brighton to break. Minter, great ball into the box. Sanchez collides with Neto. No harm done for Chelsea. In fairness, there wasn't really anyone close by to capitalise had Sanchez dropped it, but that was a swift counter-attack that wasn't too far away from coming off for Brighton.
Yeah, it's a really good ball into that box there. I could see there, it was really nicely early. Minter there decided to, he looked up, he could see his teammate making that run into that far post area, Ruter, and as he whips that ball in, it's such a difficult area. The goalkeeper Sanchez does so well. Neto's just trying to get back and help his team out, and in the end they collide. Sanchez does well. Even though he loses the ball initially, he still has the senses to pounce on it again and make sure he gets hold of the ball.
And he's nursing his left bicep, his left shoulder there. That's where Neto collided with him. And it's given everyone an opportunity to come to this near side, way down below us, to get some tactical instruction from Fabian Hürzeler and also some drinks on board. Gives me an opportunity to run you through some more goals in the Football League. Sheffield United have a goal away at Oxford. Sheffield United without a win in the league this season. And Chris Wilder's second game in charge. They're in front at the Kassam Stadium. Oxford United 0, Sheffield United 1, Grimsby 5, Cheltenham 1. And in Scotland, Inverness Cali Thistle 3, East Fife 1, Wraith Rovers 2, Arbroath 0 in Scottish League 1 and latterly the Scottish Championship. Double substitution for Brighton, and we are seeing Danny Welbeck onto the field and also Brian Gruder coming on. Brian Gruder, who was one of the changes out of the team. Kaoru Mitoma is coming off. He's not had one of his more influential games as Kaoru Mitoma, and Carlos Baleba is the other man to make way. So Gruder and Welbeck on, with Baleba and Mitoma off.
Yeah, Mitoma's been pretty isolated at times, and when he has been in possession of the ball, just hasn't really set the world alight, hasn't caused Chelsea enough problems, hasn't taken on defenders, just been a little bit too quiet. And certainly as this game's gone on with the advantage, they need to make sure they try and now create something, cause Chelsea some problems.
As is the way now on X, the Premier League Match Centre have tweeted to say after VAR review the referee overturned the original decision of no foul by Chelsea's Chalobah. And then we've got a transcript of the referee announcement as well. After review there was a clear foul by Chelsea's number 23. So I think we're in no doubt what the decision the two came to. Simon Hooper the referee and Darren England the VAR. Trevor Chalobah sent off for a denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity, bringing down Diego Gomez, who was making his way through. Celtic lead at home to Hibernian in the Scottish Premiership. Kelechi Iheanacho has scored at Celtic Park, and now Manchester City have a third against Burnley. Lovely ball through to Minter, who's the wrong side of his man, and his left foot shot is only just wide. They're asking the question again at Brighton about whether there was a penalty there. Little shirt pull by Reece James. No real appeals, but it's another half chance for Brighton.
Reece James does exceptionally well. He gets back, puts his body in between Mitoma and the ball, and then by doing so he halts the run, does it so well, and does enough then for it to be able to guide the ball out and to safety for Chelsea. And in the background the referee collides with Ruta. I think it was a foul. I think it should be a yellow card from the referee.
It's a shame that doesn't happen more often. Maxime Esteve has another own goal. Poor old Maxime Esteve. 3-1 Manchester City, and Esteve has scored 2 of them. Sandwich in between was a Mateus Nunes goal. That Celtic goal disallowed up at Celtic Park. VAR intervening at Celtic Park. So it remains Celtic 0, Hibernian 0. It remains at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. But it's been an entertaining second half with chances and that Trevor Chalobah red card that did take must have been a good 4 or 5 minutes to sort out. Darren England having a good few looks at it and then sending Simon Hooper to the screen. He in turn had a good few looks at it. And from the brief replays we saw, peering over shoulders of various colleagues, it did look like that was the right decision. Brighton are taking this free kick from the wrong place, or maybe with the ball in motion, and that was what irked referee Simon Hooper. I'm not sure he needed to be quite that pedantic. But Brighton have possession, and they're moving it slowly forward again. There is space out on this left-hand side for Minter, who's running at Malo Gusto, recently introduced, infield to Kadioglu, who was buffeted by Fernandez, but Brighton keep hold of the ball. Van Hecker moves it from left to right and has Weefer in support on that far side. The give and go, Ruter to Weefer, lovely ball, Gruder to Ruter. Caicedo, right place, right time, as he so often is, just in front of the Brighton striker before he could pull the trigger, and then Van Hecker denies Pedro Neto moving forward, and Brighton have it back again, but they don't keep it in play, and Chelsea have a throw. And those little moves, Mark, that Brighton are just beginning to put together, they're getting in more dangerous positions and starting to worry the Chelsea back line a little bit more.
Which you expect them to do. We're having the man advantage. As the longer the game goes on, you feel that that's going to happen more and more. It's just about Chelsea trying to stay nice and compact and solid. And at times what they're trying to do also is just retain possession, move up through the park, keep possession of the ball, let Brighton try and close them down. obviously with the advantage that there's going to be times that they're going to have to look to go long.
Which Sanchez does there for Chelsea. Dunk with a big right foot inside the centre circle, gets it back from Van Hecker, and in turn plays it back to the Brighton goalkeeper Verbruggen, all in black. Another one with the lurid orange gloves on. 20 minutes to play. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. The Stamford Bridge faithful trying to get behind their side. They realise it'll be another backs to the wall job, just as it was up at Old Trafford. They lost that game, but they're leading this one. Minter, the recipient of a lovely angled ball on the left-hand side of the box, running at James. He's got Gusto in company as well. Minter goes down. Play on, says the referee. In comes the cross. Van Hecker on the edge of the box. Right foot scuff, but it'll drop for Welbeck, who puts it wide from 7 yards out. And that was the chance for Brighton. And they couldn't have really asked for it to fall to anyone better. Danny Welbeck, 6 yards out, angle a little bit tight, but he puts it wide in the bottom right corner.
That's a huge chance for Danny Welbeck, and you're right, the player that you want that chance to fall to is Danny Welbeck. Van Hecker's at the edge of the box. I think initial touch is a little bit heavy, then there's a coming together of players. The ball pops up and it just lands in the direction of Danny Welbeck. I don't think he can believe his luck. He's got space. He's able to turn on his right foot to try and hit it first time, and he just scuffs his shot back across the face of the goal. We can see Sanchez full stretch trying to make the save. I think he's beaten. If that's on target, I think that's in the goal.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's the clearest sight of goal that Brighton have had, certainly in the second half, and probably the entirety of the match as well. Reading level away at Stockport. Jack Marriott has scored. Stockport 1, Reading 1. Crawley have a goal back at home to Barrow. Crawley 1, Barrow 2. And Northampton in front against Bolton. Northampton 1, Bolton 0. That in League 1. Still Chelsea 1, Brighton 0, and still in the Premier League, Palace leading Liverpool by a goal to 0. Here's Minter on the left-hand side of the box, beginning to have more of an influence. Low cross in, James in the way, Brighton have a corner.
Yeah, it's an interesting battle now because Minter's come across to the left side of the park. Obviously he's up against Reece James. It's going to be a different battle because he struggled to get any real sort of inroads in against Cucurella on the other side of the park.
Corner taken short, Minter delivers. It looked a really good delivery too. Ruter missed it when it looked like he was ready to pounce. In fact, the flag is up, so I wonder if he knew he was offside.
I thought it was bizarre that Ruter was so close to the ball, no one else around him.
Yeah.
And then he just lets it go as well, so obviously he's offside. That's why flag goes up. And for Chelsea, there's an opportunity now just to slow the game down, take their time, as the referee's trying to quicken the goalkeeper up.
Yeah, no surprise that Robert Sanchez will be eating up as much time as he possibly can as Chelsea's game management kicks in. Palace 1, Liverpool 0, Leeds 2, Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 3, Burnley 1, the latest scores in the Premier League. 1-0 Chelsea here, 15 minutes to play, 5 Sports Extra 2 on BBC Sounds. Plotting forward at Brighton again with Kadioglu, infield to Ruter, the give and go. Didn't quite work out, and Chelsea can build and clear with Enzo Fernandez, but such is Chelsea's defending. There aren't too many forward. Malo Gusto, why didn't he go forward? I think that's what the fans wanted. Instead he tracked back. Neto has it on the far side of the left. Gusto continues his run, gets it now just inside the penalty area, but there's no one in blue inside the box, and it's a fairly straightforward Brighton clearance. That's a great ball from Gomez looking for Welbeck. Well read by Josh Achiampong, who came on to enforce the Chelsea back line with Chalobah sent off. Foul by Gomez on Fernandez, and Chelsea have this free kick with 15 minutes to play.
Yeah, Malo Gusto's down the right hand side, gets the ball. All he can see though is yellow. There's not a Chelsea player in the box. You see Neto was on the peeling off on the left hand side, so it would have had to be a long diagonal ball across to him. Yes, okay, could have played that ball. Instead he elects to come inside. The ball ends up at Neto anyway. Then he makes a really good run across the park into the 18-yard box. That's when he runs into the 18-yard box and Neto plays him that ball towards the byline, he needs his teammates to make that run in the 6-yard box. No one makes that run because all he does is turn and whip it back across the face of goal. But unfortunately, no one's there to help him out.
Cucurella, fine touch on the edge of the Brighton box. Enzo Fernandez with space to shoot. Dragged it slightly, did the Argentine. He wanted a corner. Don't think it took a touch off anyone in yellow. And Brighton have a goal kick, which they take quickly.
Yeah, they're not going to waste any time, are they, Brighton? They know they need to get up the other end. They have an opportunity here, and they need to try and make the most of it.
Van Hecker over halfway. Gomez with the first-time pass to Dunk, who moves it forward to Minter via Kadioglu. Minter running at Gusto, space to cross. Great ball in, there's the equaliser. Fine ball in. Welbeck nods it in. He missed a great chance earlier. He's not missing that one. And Brighton are level with 14 minutes to play. Chelsea 1, Brighton 1.
It is a brilliant ball from Minter into the box. It really is. It's got everything. It's got whip, it's got pace, it's got the right height. Welbeck, all he needs to do is just guide it, and he does that, and it flies into the back of the net. Sanchez, no chance. That's a great goal. It really is a nice goal to watch that.
Any kind of contact would send it flying into the net, and that's exactly what it got. And now the Brighton fans are in full voice. They've taken advantage of Chelsea's one-man disadvantage, and Danny Welbeck scores with an excellent header, his first of the season, his 38th for Brighton, and his 110th in the Premier League. Across his long career with Manchester United and Arsenal, now at Brighton. And Mark Schwarzer with 30 minutes to play. Brighton will fancy they can go and win this game.
Of course they will. They'll definitely feel like now there's more energy. They feel like they're back on level terms. They've got the one-man advantage. That ball in the box from Minter was exceptional. It's actually, interestingly, in the first half, he never hit one early ball into the box because he didn't have an out-and-out striker to aim for. Now he's got Danny Welbeck on the pitch. He's done it 2 or 3 times already in this half.
Here he is again, running at Gusto, same position that led to the goal. Gusto gets some part of his foot on it. And out it goes for a Brighton corner, and there's only one team in the ascendancy, and it's the team from the south coast, and Chelsea are making changes. Romeo Lavia is coming on for his first appearance of the season. Pedro Neto's game is over. And in fact, it's the 2 players that have made their Chelsea returns to the bench, because Benoit Badiashile is also coming on. So Pedro Neto is being replaced, and Benoit Badiashile is coming on, and also Jarell Hato is coming off for Romeo Lavia. In the Championship, Watford now lead Hull by 2-1. Middlesbrough have equalised down at Southampton. Southampton 1, Middlesbrough 1. In the Madrid derby, Atletico lead Real by 3-2. Julian Alvarez has just scored there. And Shrewsbury 1, MK Dons 2 in League 2. A goal back for Shrewsbury. Brighton corner in front of their fans. Most of them on their feet inside the shed end. Taken short to Minter, whose cross was pinpoint for the Welbeck equaliser. Oh, he plays it between 2 Brighton players, and all of that momentum has dissipated with one swing of Minter's left foot, and Brighton have to start all the way back at the halfway line. Gruder coming forward. All of Chelsea's 9 outfield players are behind the ball, and the goalkeeper, who comes out of goal and easily collects. And it's a difficult one now for Chelsea, Mark, because you wonder with 10 minutes to play whether they certainly will be concerned about their one-man disadvantage, and they won't want to lose the game.
No, they won't. And taking Neto off, you lose a little bit of that extra attacking option going forward. So, you know, the pace to try and hit Brighton on the counter-attack, which is something that they'll look to be doing more, being down to 10 men. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for Chelsea between now and the end of this game.
James, early ball down the line. Gusto with a big ponytail bouncing up and down as he collects. Dunk just in front of him. Out of play it goes. Chelsea have a throw in their right back position. The fans, I'm sure, will still want Chelsea to move the ball forward and try and create chances to win this game, but with Trevor Chalobah's sending off, that makes life difficult for Chelsea. They have the throw level with the edge of the Brighton box near side the right, thrown into the penalty area. Fernandez with a nice turn, but he needs support. He's not really getting it. João Pedro is in the box waiting for a cross. Instead it goes out of the penalty area, and Gusto again exchanges passes with James in a tiny slither of sunlight, just making its way between the gap between the stands. Fernandez does not win his side a throw, gesticulates angrily at the assistant, and Brighton have a throw in their left back position that Kadioglu takes quickly. Earlier in the Championship, West Brom 1, Leicester 1, that was last night. Coventry 3, Birmingham 0, Swansea 1, Millwall 1, and Wrexham 1, Derby 1. Latest scores: Charlton 1, Blackburn 0, Ipswich 2, Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0, Sheffield United 1. Goalless between Preston and Bristol City. 1-1 between Wednesday and QPR, Southampton and Middlesbrough, and Stoke and Norwich. Watford are 2-1 up at home to Hull. Minter for Brighton. The yellow shirts keen for a winner. Taking on Gusto into the front post. That's an easy grab for Sanchez, who then perilously runs close to his own line, but doesn't take it over it, and rolls it out quickly. But that's a strange decision, because Fernandez was in trouble, and Ruta wins it. Edge of the box, he's then clattered into by Cucurella, but he won the ball, did Marc Cucurella. Good job too, because he's also on a yellow card, and Chelsea can clear.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Sanchez plays that short ball into midfield. Caicedo's under a lot of pressure, but they've got no one really to look for long up the pitch. How are you going to get players forward?
Relentless Brighton pressure. Ayari, that's a fine challenge on him on the edge of his own penalty area by Caicedo, and then Gusto was sloppy with the ball when there was half a chance for Chelsea to counter-attack, albeit how much pace they would have counter-attacked, I'm not sure.
I tell you what, that was a good chance. It would have been a very good chance had Malo Gusto had a better first touch. Get that first touch, because you see João Pedro had space, and it was 3 against 2 for Chelsea, because Brighton had pushed so many players forward.
Dunk for Brighton, out to Minter once again. He really has troubled Gusto, and he's running at him again into the box. However, his touch is a little heavy, and Robert Sanchez comes out, and he gets a little clock in the head from Minter's trailing right boot. I think it was purely accidental, and I'm not sure there's any need for the referee to get involved there.
Yeah, I think again it's just a little bit unlucky, because Minter tries to jump out of the way from Reece James coming across to make the challenge, and in doing so he jumps over him and almost clatters into Robert Sanchez. Would have hurt, would have possibly have injured him. So I can understand Robert Sanchez being upset about it, but I don't know what else Minter was supposed to do.
Chelsea 1, Brighton 1. 7 minutes to play at Stamford Bridge. Latest scores in League 1: Burton 0, Plymouth 4, Exeter 1, Huddersfield 1, Luton 1, Doncaster 0, Mansfield 1, Rotherham 1, Northampton 2, Bolton 0, Peterborough 0, Lincoln 2, Stockport 1, Reading 1, and Wigan 0, Cardiff City 1. Minter has seen so much of the ball in the last 15 minutes. It was this avenue that led to the equaliser, and if Brighton are to get a winner, then you'd think Minter would be heavily involved again. Van Hecke, good ball to Welbeck on the edge. A little bit too intricate as he tried to find Ayari, and then Van Hecke's fouled by João Pedro, and that'll be a free kick to Brighton midway through the Chelsea half. Taken quickly. Ball on that far side, the left, and it's a good little run from Gruder, and he's then taken out by a combination of Cucurella and Fernandez. However, they run into trouble. Van Hecke chipped to the back post. Minter was lurking, away by James. Gruder still on the floor, but Brighton won't stop because they still have the ball, but the referee will stop it for them because it is a head injury.
Yeah, it was a coming together, wasn't it? I'm not really sure if it was a foul. Can't really see because it's so high up. I mean, Gruder is up now. I mean, he's rolling around everywhere, holding his head. Now he gets up.
Yeah, I think he's realised that because he clutched his head, the game has to be stopped, and I think he was keen not to check the momentum that Brighton had got, but it's a bit too late for that now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a difficult one. I mean, I think he was definitely caught. Just don't know to what extent. I mean, he seems okay.
He does seem okay, but he is having to leave the field momentarily. It will be a drop ball. Uncontested, I imagine. Who had possession of the ball? I think Chelsea did. We'll soon find out. Here come another couple of Brighton changes, with Maxime de Kuyper and Stefanos Tsimas coming on. The young Greek striker Stefanos Tsimas is coming on. Jorginho Ruta's game is over, and also coming off, didn't see actually who came off for Maxime de Kuyper. Tsimas is definitely on, de Kuyper's definitely on. And we'll get that confirmed for you momentarily. The free kick taken, and here is Lewis Dunk, left-hand side of the centre circle. Brighton camped inside the Chelsea half as they look for a winner. 1-1 with Chelsea. They are the better team, playing against the 10 men of Chelsea. Weefer, far side the left. Kadioglu on the edge of the box, didn't really look as he played that backwards of square, and that was a difficult one for Ayari. João Pedro then wins a good challenge, and he comes over halfway. Was he fouled by Kadioglu? He wasn't. You can hear what the Chelsea faithful think of that decision. João Pedro still on the floor, Brighton aren't hanging around to discuss the matter, and they are right on the front foot again with Minter. So many touches for the Gambian international. De Kuyper backwards of square. Ayari keeps the move going left to right. Gruder, who's back on the field and looks okay. Kadioglu now, the focus of the attack on the right-hand side. Great ball in, Simas misses his header. Minter then goes down under a high Malo Gusto boot. No penalty, says the referee. The majority of the appeals came from the Brighton fans in the shed end rather than any player, and the game will stop because it is a head injury. I think there was contact, but not enough for the referee to give the penalty.
I tell you what, this is going to be an interesting one. That is, I mean, Malo Gusto, the way he's shaped up, he can't see Minter making the run into the box from behind him. Gusto just then turns, swivels back towards his goal, looks to try and almost hook the ball away. And it looks like, there we go, a bit of scuffling going on in the box.
Well, it's all getting a bit unnecessary inside the Chelsea penalty area. Robert Sanchez is out of goal. Badiashile is very angry at someone.
Badiashile just tries to grab Van Hecke. I don't even know what he's thinking. Like, it's just silly. Because he's in danger. The way it's flared up, he's in danger, certainly to get a yellow card. They're checking for a possible penalty anyway.
So VAR are checking whether Malo Gusto's dangling leg was enough to warrant a penalty on Yakuba Minter, who is being led away by a physio. Minter complaining to him that he thinks it should be. All of that argy-bargy in the middle of the Chelsea penalty area appears to be over. Van Hecke was on the floor in the midst of that melee. Again, with no monitors here, it was difficult to know exactly what happened. But still on the screen is VAR checking for a possible penalty, Mark.
Yeah, they are. I think the annoyance from Chelsea is that Van Hecke went to ground very theatrically. There was something that was said or done between him and Cucurella, and then Van Hecke just goes to the ground as if he'd been literally, hit by a truck. And that's where it started to just escalate a bit.
Diego Gomez, by the way, was the man to be replaced by Stefanos Simas. So Simas and De Kuyper on for Brighton. Gomez and Rute were the two to make way. There's a yellow card, 2 yellow cards, one apiece. Looks like one for Badiashile and one for Lewis Dunk. And that was due to the little skirmish when Simon Hooper was having a little word with Malo Gusto about the challenge. This is still being checked by VAR. And again, peering over my shoulder, I can see, Minter ducks his head into Malo Gusto's boot, clutches his head as contact is made. It's just a question of whether that is enough for Darren England to suggest Simon Hooper has a look at the TV screen. And he decides no. So no penalty, no foul by Malo Gusto, no penalty. And again, Mark, from the brief look, I think Darren England has decided that the on-field decision was more than fair enough there. There wasn't enough to overturn it.
Yeah, it was risky though, wasn't it, for Malo Gusto? Whenever you have your back to play, or certainly from a player coming behind you, and you take a big swing like he did, there's always a danger that you get it wrong and that you could easily give away a penalty, and I think he's a bit fortunate on that occasion.
Port Vale have a second away at Barnsley. Barnsley 0, Port Vale 2, Fleetwood 3, Colchester 2, a late winner potentially for Fleetwood. And Chesterfield have a fourth at home to Newport County. Chesterfield 4, Newport County 1. We have 5 seconds of normal time to play, but there'll be loads. There'll be absolutely loads added on. 7 or 8 would be my guess. Because of those 11, it's 11 minutes. Well, it's a lot more than 7 or 8. Because of those 2 VAR checks. So there are 11 minutes to add on at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Brighton 1, into 11 minutes of added on time, Mark.
Well, we knew it was going to be entertaining in the second half, didn't we? Yeah. Maybe not to this level, but we did expect there to be more action, and it hasn't let us down.
Yes, we didn't quite know what sort of action, but it hasn't let us down. You're right, the red card to Chalobah, melees in the penalty area, chances, a Brighton equaliser, and now 11 minutes. So there are still stories to be written at Stamford Bridge on 5 Sports Extra 2. No changes anywhere else in the Premier League. So Crystal Palace closing in what would be an excellent win over Liverpool, and that would be Liverpool's first defeat in the Premier League this season. Manchester City still 3-1 up at home to Burnley, and Leeds still 2-1 up at home to Bournemouth. That'll be an important result as well for Daniel Farke's side. Here go Brighton with Stefanos Tsitsipas. Across comes Achiampong, concedes the corner. And you get the impression, Mark, this is going to be 10 minutes of Brighton attack and 10 minutes of Chelsea defence.
Yeah, I think it will be. I mean, it's going to be obviously end-to-end. Well, certainly one end mostly, and Chelsea will be hoping to try and get up the other end and sneak a potential winner. But for Brighton, of course, they'll be looking to try and win this game.
Corner taken short. Minter collected from Ayari, who has it back now on the angle of the penalty area. Ball into the back post. Numbers. Weaver's header. There must be a goal. There is. Maxime de Kuyper could well have won it for Brighton. The header back across goal. De Kuyper couldn't miss on the goal line, and in front of the jubilant Brighton fans, Chelsea 1, Brighton 2.
Yeah, really poor defending from Chelsea. Too many players just ball watching. No one taking initiative, taking control of the situation. As that ball comes into the box, far post, it's headed back across the face. De Kuyper is the one that is just free. All he needs to do is just aim for anywhere away from Sanchez. Does it very easily. But Chelsea players, everybody turning around, looking at each other, hands going up and hoping for offside. I mean, we're waiting now. There might be. They're going to hope. That's the only thing that potentially. No, the referee's given. It's a goal. It looked like it was miles onside. Really poor defending from Chelsea.
But a big moment for Brighton. And Maxime de Kuyper, the second half change, scores his first goal in Brighton colours. He won't get an easier one. Great header back across to him. And he is completely on his own to nod beyond Sanchez. Chelsea 1, Brighton 2. 8 minutes still to play. So Chelsea still have time to find an equaliser, but for the second week in a row, the 10 men of Chelsea look like they are going to lose. And for Brighton, who don't win here very often, are looking like inflicting a rare Premier League home defeat at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea. Referee coming across to this near side because there is a Chelsea player down. It's Malo Gusto on the floor, I think it is. Clutching his left ankle. He will be okay. Late equaliser for Bournemouth at Ellen Road. Leeds 2, Bournemouth 2. Eli Krupi, who's perhaps rescued a point for Andoni Iraola's side at Ellen Road. It's the Brighton fans you can hear. They would have come to Stamford Bridge not really knowing what to expect, but they have thoroughly enjoyed the second half. Maybe not the first half, but the second half they have been the much better side, aided by the Trevor Chalobah red card. And they have 7 minutes to see this out. What can Chelsea muster in that 7 minutes? Cucurella's chest to Badiashile, who sweeps it to João Pedro. Still time for Chelsea. João Pedro has Malo Gusto with him. And Gusto with a couple of touches, rolls it away from 2 Brighton players. Pedro away from Tsitsipas into the box, plays it in low, but Stefanos Tsitsipas recovered. Gusto, ponytail bobbing, comes across to this near side to collect. Here goes Reece James. That's a nice little touch towards the corner flag. Gusto is in support. James outside of his right foot to find Lavia, who is a little bit slow to get off the mark there. And then that's a poor pass from Badiashile. All the momentum of what had been a relatively promising Chelsea attack is now lost. Lavia infield and Achiampong all the way back to Sanchez. Do Chelsea have it in them? With 6 minutes of stoppage time to play, 11 was shown by the fourth official, Ruben Ricardo, mainly because of 2 very lengthy VAR checks. One to give a red card to Trevor Chalobah, and the other to wave away a penalty that Yakuba Minter thought he'd won against Malo Gusto. Enzo Fernandez in that pocket of space between midfield and attack. Dunk out ferociously to clear, and Chelsea have a throw in their right back position.
Yeah, Chelsea are obviously desperate. Difficult when you're only 10 men, but they're trying to really put pressure on Brighton, but Brighton at the moment are holding firm. They're defending well, and they're actually coming out of their box as well. They're not just trying to dig deep. They're coming up, they're trying to pin Chelsea back in their own half of football pitch, and that's what you need to do. Keep the danger away from you as long as possible.
Sorry, Mark. Manchester City have a 4th and a 5th now against Burnley. Haaland's got them both. Manchester City 5, Burnley 1, and Liverpool level against Crystal Palace. Federico Chiesa has scored in the 87th minute at Selhurst Park. The conclusion of that game is available on 5 Live. Here's Gusto on the right-hand side of the centre circle inside the Brighton half as Chelsea push for an equaliser. They led 1-0. They now trail 2-1 in the dying embers of this game. James away from Minter into the box, away from De Kuyper, goes down under the challenge of De Kuyper, and the referee immediately wags his finger to say no penalty, and James is still on the floor. Brighton coming forward, but Chelsea win it back. Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, isn't it? It's difficult. We've had a couple of these calls today, and I think I've got a couple of them wrong as well from where we're sitting. No replays to see. Referee was very adamant, very quick to suggest that wasn't a penalty. Hang on, he's going to stop. I think they're checking, of course. They're going to decide on whether or not it is a penalty or not.
Yeah, again,
no, let's play on.
No, I think it didn't seem like there was enough there. Chelsea, as you can imagine, would appeal for everything, but they're not getting that decision. They've got 4 minutes to try and find an equaliser. Chelsea 1, Brighton 2. This will be second straight Premier League defeat for Chelsea, and their first at Stamford Bridge in the league since Boxing Day. Poor pass, Lavia over Gusto's head. Out of play it goes, Brighton throw. Leeds 2, Bournemouth 2 is a full time in the Premier League. Good point that for Bournemouth in the end, having trailed 2-1 for large parts of the match. We have 3 minutes to play at Stamford Bridge. Brighton are moving level on points with Chelsea if they can see this victory out. Pockets of blue seats beginning to appear at Stamford Bridge. Badiashile back to Robert Sanchez in the Chelsea goal. His left-footed clearance, there's no one where he played that. That's why the cheers are as loud as they are from Brighton fans. Poor from Sanchez, no one on the left wing, and Brighton have a throw, and it looks like, Mark, that Chelsea just do not have it in them to go again and find an equaliser.
Not at this stage, no, that's for sure. I mean, again, Brighton I think have done well in this second half. Yes, they've had the advantage with the extra player, of course, but you still have to make the most of it. They've never really panicked, and I think as the game's gone, when they've taken the lead, they've had the opportunity just to compose themselves a little bit more, and I think they've been very, very professional in the way they've approached this second half.
Yeah, professional is very much the word, and Brighton have the ball exactly where they want it to be, deep in Chelsea territory. Gruder wins his side a corner, and you can absolutely imagine this will not be pumped long into the penalty area. This will be taken short as Brighton look to see out the remaining minutes of this game, and there are precisely 2 minutes of stoppage time to play now. Chelsea 1, Brighton 2. Brighton have the ball by the corner flag. Simas, surrounded by 3 Chelsea players, and somehow still comes away with the ball. João Pedro can't dispossess him. Simas then whacks it against the Chelsea player. It ricochets fortunately back to Simas, who then can't pick up the pieces. Chelsea goal kick, and Robert Sanchez has to get on with this quickly. James on the edge of the box, didn't really want to receive that ball from Sanchez, but Chelsea are running out of ideas, and they've lost it again. Welbeck to seal it. It's Danny Welbeck to win the game for Brighton. He whips his shirt off in celebration. Brighton players follow him to the corner flag to celebrate. The Chelsea players dejectedly walk to the halfway line. Brighton are going to win this game. 2 goals from Danny Welbeck has helped in that cause. Chelsea 1, Brighton 3.
Yeah, another brilliant finish from Danny Welbeck. Chelsea only themselves to blame. Yes, they're tracing the game. They've played out at the back. Just sloppy, really sloppy. Poor defending once again, giving the ball away in a really dangerous position. I know it's tough when you're one player down and you're a goal behind, but you just can't gift goals like that.
It was a gift. Blind pass from James. Fernandez didn't really want it, and then the moment Chelsea lost it, 3-on-2, the right pass played to Welbeck. It's a lovely finish from Welbeck. Took it close into Sanchez, and then with a left foot prod, lifted it over him into the roof of the net, and this is going to be a very, very impressive Brighton win that will take them up to 10th in the Premier League level on points with Chelsea, 8 from their 6 matches. And you didn't really see this coming in the first half when Brighton couldn't muster too much. The red card undoubtedly changing the game, but Brighton have done what they needed to do, and Chelsea again, Mark, have not reacted well to going down to 10 men.
No, they haven't. And I mean, of course, it is always very, very difficult when you are down to 10 men. And it's a challenge, obviously, from Trevor Chalobah. It's a last-ditch challenge outside the box. I mean, you know what? It can happen. The problem for Chelsea is obviously it's happened 2 weeks in a row where players have been sent off, and then ultimately that's led to them losing those games, and that's the difficulty of it to take. The reaction afterwards in this game hasn't been great. Defending has been really poor. They've had numbers in the box just not picking up, and then again the third goal trying to play out of the back and just really, really sloppy and poor, and you're gifting goals to your opponent.
Stamford Bridge emptying rapidly, the dying embers of the game. We are